What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first live stream. If you guys can see us, type in the chat. If you can hear us fine. First time trying this out, so we got the scoreboard up here. Let us know if everything's good. Jesse, you want to say something? Make sure we got the audio going.
Habs Digest community, what is up? So stoked to be with you guys all for the first live stream game.
Yeah, I'm hyped. This is something else. We got the Habs and the baby blues, the reverse retros today. Actually, maybe I should go change my jersey and put that on it. No, you know what? No, it's cursed. I got rid of it in the setup, right? We got the Patrick Waugh Stanley Cup patch jersey, 1993. So I feel like that's going to bring us some good luck today. But yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. Me and Jesse are going to be watching the game, commentating on what happens, and chatting with you guys. First time doing it, so yeah, feel free to chat with us, send us questions, whatever you want. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. What about you, Jesse? This is pretty great.
I've been really looking forward to this. To be honest, like the game recaps are one of my favorite part of doing the channel with you, Josh, but just getting to do the games live, kind of getting to watch it as a community. I'm just so excited to watch this build and keep doing this in the future. Yeah,
me too. I mean, it seems to be smooth. Like, I was really worried that this was going to be really laggy. Again, let me know if there's any choppiness there. I see John saying, hey guys, we're good. I mean, that's pretty awesome. It's good to know that my computer is holding up. This thing's old. When, maybe sometime soon, if Habs Digest takes off to the moon, I can afford a bit of a better machine. But as of now, man, Jesse, what are your thoughts on doing this live stream now while the game's going on? Like, what do you want to hear from the fans here? You want to field some questions? Do you want to just see what they have to say about the Habs? You got any ideas?
Yeah, what's up, John? Great to have you. Absolutely. It's just, I think it's so cool just to be able to all kind of watch the game together, right? And so, let's feel free to kind of share our insights. What are we seeing? What are we thinking with Jonathan Drouin being back? The different lines. Is Doc going to keep it up? Everything else. So, and if any questions, for myself or Josh, we're definitely here. Just super stoked to be here with you guys right now.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, of course, the puck is already dropped. I see the Smurfs are playing again, says Scorchy. Yeah, they are playing again. But hey, you saw the thumbnail to this stream. There's a tank on the Montreal Canadiens logo. No, of course, I don't want them to lose the game. But all things considered, if we get closer to Bedard, we get closer to Bedard. Jesse, so far, there's not too much going on. The puck's just been cycling around. Who's one player that you want to keep an eye on this game? For me, it's Raphael Harvey-Pinard on the first line. Do you have someone else you're maybe keeping a close eye on?
He's a fan favorite of mine. Doc, I want to see if he can keep up his hot streak. Harvey-Pinard as well. He was saying, that the break wasn't really too much of a bother for him, that it was actually nice just to kind of get some perspective, just kind of think about some things other than hockey a little bit, and just kind of come back refreshed and everything else. And so, but, he's definitely been putting some time on the ice to be ready for this game tonight. So I think he's going to be ready to go. But yeah, other than that, I want to see Suzuki kind of get back to that pace we saw him earlier on the year. We know we can do it. I think he's going to finish off the season strong. So definitely want to see that tonight.
Yeah, I do too. This is it's a pretty fun game so far. We got the Habs first line out there: Nick Suzuki, Josh Anderson, Raphael Harvey-Pinard. It's kind of wild to see the growth of that kid, Raphael Harvey-Pinard. He's been someone that, even when we saw just glimpses of him in Laval, we could tell the hustle was there. We could see that, like, his energy and effort would really come through at the NHL level, if nothing else. But the thing is, Jesse, he's had a bit of a surprising scoring touch to go along with that, has he not?
It is. And to be honest, like, grinders are one of my favorite type of players. It's always kind of my type of role whenever I was playing sports. But then when you have like that scoring sort of touch on top of it, like, what a combo to be a grinder and then be having the mitts that he has too, right?
Yeah.
With that, it's no easy feat. Like, we're talking about his first 7 games in the NHL that he's putting up those numbers. What was it? 5 goals,
yeah.
His first 7. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. That's a lot, even, let's say, of a first round, draft pick, let alone a 7th, right? So personally, he's like a fan favorite of mine. Like, I just love those type of players that just by sheer effort and will, like, very much like Jack Guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, an amazing story. Like, he didn't give up. He could have gave up on the NHL easily. Like, like Harvey-Pinard, HB, as they call him, like, he was drafted eventually, unlike Jack Guy, but it went for 2 years before that happened. Like, imagine going 2 years, not being drafted, still having that hope, and then, your dream coming true, and not just that, scoring your first NHL goal with your childhood favorite team. It's like it's a pretty awesome story there.
It's amazing. Like exactly like you said, someone that he knows the grind, right? It's someone that, yeah, all of us, I'm sure, if we played sports when we were younger, you find out the role that lets you continue playing, right? Like, not everything's gonna, if you're not a top end talent, you gotta find your place. And Harvey Pinard, of course, I'm sure his whole life has been one of the top scorers on his teams. But then as he graduates to higher and higher leagues, maybe the grindiness, the quick skill, the dump in, stuff like that will help him more. And he really found that with the Montreal Canadiens. Jesse, I want to get to the comments here. We got the Scorchy saying, great job, fellas. Watch all your segments. Really appreciated. A lot of you guys have been really dedicated. I mean, our baseline now is like 3,000 views, which is insane to me. Like, at minimum, there are like multiple thousand people watching no matter what we put out, even if it's crap, which is nothing yet has been crap, but I know even someday, maybe if we slip, you guys will still be there. But thank you very much. I see, what's that? Astenax, I want Montreal to lose every game 4-3 in the last 2 minutes of the game for the rest of the year. I wouldn't mind that either. Get the young guy some points, tank in the standings. Tony the Mark, who will overpay for Anderson at this trade deadline? I think that's a great question. But, Jesse, as we've heard, Kent Hughes has not been very willing to trade Josh Anderson unless there's a really big package. And recently, as we've mentioned to you guys, there's rumors that he might get shipped in the summer for someone like Pierre-Luc Dubois. So, Jesse, do you think, what are the odds that Anderson actually gets moved at this trade deadline?
Yeah, it's I think he is going to be moved at some point in time, even though he is a great type of player. Like, I'm only happy with that if we're getting some size back. Like, if we're able to get a Pierre-Luc Dubois, if they feel like they need to do that and they can't just wait, that's the type of return I want to see, because to be honest, I love Josh Anderson. If we're losing him, I definitely want to get something of value back, which I'm sure, Kent Hughes will figure out. But I mean, you got to feel like there's going to be some serious moves kind of coming up here. And I'm kind of torn, right? You got to feel like maybe it might be best for the team, but I don't know. He's just one of my favorites. I'd kind of like to hold on to him if we could.
Yeah, and as we talk about that, we get a nice Habs scoring chance. Dvorak comes down the middle and kind of puts it towards the net, and I believe that was Jonathan Kovacevic right on the doorstep. He's trying to put a backhander pass. I think that's Sorokin in net for the Islanders. Really good chance. Sorokin's made... is that Sorokin? I'm not really sure. I don't have audio on. I think it is. But he's made a couple good saves so far, and the Habs have been decent at pressuring so far. A few nice chances in the Islanders' zone, and I think they've been really good at keeping the Islanders to the outside as well. I also see someone in chat saying we need the Kirby animation, so we're just going to play that for you. Fan favorite yes. Animation for us right there. We'll be playing that much more if he makes some good plays. But Jesse, of what you've seen so far from Montreal, I mean, it's still 0-0, about 6 minutes into the period. Not a lot of whistles. Has anything stood out to you so far?
Suzuki playing with some pace, that's what I like to see. I think speed's a big part of his game. And, he's a great passer, but I love to see him shoot, as he just did, kind of coming down the center of the ice, basically, and ripping one on net, then taking the puck away with his great defensive awareness in the offensive zone. So, he's really, kind of replaced Gallagher, I feel, as kind of the lifeblood of this team in a lot of ways. They really kind of follow him. If he's playing well, I think the rest of the team kind of follow. So, I'm happy to see him on his toes so far.
Yeah, that's a great point. Players coming in and giving a ton of energy. That really spreads throughout the team, and we've seen that with all kinds of guys this season. Whether it's Josh Anderson going on an end-to-end rush with the same move he always does, Raphael Harvey Pinard, every line, like we've said, his effort has translated to his line also having a ton of effort. Michael Pezzetta is a similar thing, right? These young guys who really need to grind to get minutes, they come in and they show energy, and when the captain especially is doing that, the rest of the team is gonna follow suit. As we take another look at the scoring chance there, Kovacevic right on net. I'm not sure how delayed we are to the game for you guys. I mean, I think my stream on its own of the game is about 10 seconds behind, and I'm sure this YouTube stream is adding a bit extra time. But no, still, this is a solid performance so far as we get the Kirby Doc line out. Jesse, if there's one player you had to pick to score a goal in today's game, who would it be? Because I think my answer is, now that we're getting closer to the trade deadline, I'm gonna say Mike Hoffman or Evgeny Dadonov. Those are my picks, people I want to see score. Do you have someone in mind?
Yeah, I think Kent Hughes definitely agrees with you. I don't know, call me bitter, but I don't know. I can't wait for Hoffman's time in Montreal to be done. So I don't know. But we definitely want to get a good return with him. So I get, wishing the best for him all the same. But yeah, I definitely, again, Doc, right? He's just turning out to be one of my favorite players on the Habs. It's just there's this, I think that it'll do a lot for his confidence to kind of pad that stat sheet a little bit more, which he's had a great year, but there's room for some more, right? So I just want to see him finish off the year strong, because I feel like he's one of those leaders too, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you get him really rolling, like, just the future of the Habs, as a franchise, just increases so much, right? With him as a center.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's this is the time of year now I've seen people say, like, hey, we gotta hunker down because this might be bad. There's going to be a lot of players getting shipped out. A lot of our top talent is injured. There are going to be some losses. But with these losses, as we get closer to Bedard, as Matt says, Raphael Harvey Bedard, which is, I like that one a lot. Popeye Pinard. There are some guys who are going to get minutes for this Montreal team. And maybe will be on the roster into next season. I know we've only had a small sample size of Harvey Pinard so far, but we've made it clear on the show we think he's going to end up sticking with the team beyond this year, even with some other guys out of the lineup. Like, I can see Harvey Pinard at the very least playing on a line with Jake Evans next season, and maybe even higher if he continues his scoring. I know there's a lot left to be seen with him because obviously it's still very early in the season, and Harvey Pinard is still young, still gritty, still grindy. There's maybe room for injuries. Maybe we'd want to keep developing him, but I think he'll still be on the team come next year. But we also have guys like Jesse Ullinen, Alex Belzile. Actually, Jesse, I'm changing my mind. I want Alex Belzile to score tonight. 31-year-old. How many posts do you think he's hit so far this season looking for that first NHL goal? It's got to be at least 10, right?
No, absolutely. He's had some bad luck for sure, but it'd be amazing to see, right? Like, do you think there's any chance that maybe Alex Belzile's kicking around next year? Maybe, like, even if it is just like on a fourth line role?
You know what? I wouldn't put it past Montreal to do that. I think that could be very interesting, and I think he's a bit of a fan favorite as well, just because he's a Quebec guy. He's been grinding the AHL for so long, looking for that first goal. I think he'll get chances. As for a permanent fourth liner, maybe not. Maybe that 13th, 14th forward for Montreal, that if someone gets hurt, he can be called up. But, as rough as it is to say, like, the guy's 31, and Montreal in the next couple seasons is really going to try and bolster their depth. So I'm not super optimistic about him, but I really, really want him to score as soon as possible so he can, break that big drought.
That's true. No, like, looking at next year, it's amazing to think like what our roster might end up looking like, right? Like, you got to feel like Beck's going to be in the lineup, and I guess a lot of it's going to matter if, like, we're keeping Monahan, but it's almost like, next year, would you agree with the assessment, Josh, of like Suzuki? Then we're probably having Doc as our 2C, Beck as 3C, and then maybe Evans as 4C.
I mean, I think in an ideal world, that would be pretty much perfect for Montreal. I know a lot of our prospects have been playing a bit of center, at the younger levels, but I think Beck is the most NHL-ready center now, just purely from his face-off perspective and his defensive ability. And Doc and Suzuki, I think at this point we've seen enough from Doc to know that he should be a center of the future. And Evans is... I got the card. I always have the card every time we talk about Jake Evans. This guy, I love him. I don't want him to ever change teams. Even though he's hurt right now, I'd love to see him stick on that fourth line role for as long as he can. And maybe when Beck is young, first coming up to Montreal, maybe Evans slides up to 3C if he gets his points back together. But it doesn't really matter because Montreal has, at least in recent years, been very much a team that likes to run four pretty deep lines. So I think the title of 3 and 4C, I mean, we know Suzuki and Doc will get more minutes, but 3 and 4C is kind of interchangeable, right? As we get a little chance near the net with Josh Anderson. I'm going to take another look at the chat here. We see Pinard is our new Galley. Tony, I've seen people refer to him as Lavallagher. That's one thing that I've been saying too, because he really, really mimics Gallagher's style of play, doesn't he? And Tommy says Belzile deserves a goal. It would be his Stanley Cup. I mean, honestly, at this point, yeah, scoring a goal for Montreal at the Bell Center would just be like every kid's dream, right? Every Habs fan's dream. So I think that would be amazing for him, and I totally think he deserves a goal. So let's see here. What do we got going on in the game here? The Powder Blues so far, I'm not going to say anything because I'm afraid I'm going to jinx it as they turn the puck over. Okay, but Montreal is out shooting New York 5-2 right now as the Islanders come in. Great defensive stick by Michael Pezzetta, and the Habs are going the other way. Do they have numbers? No, not really. It's a 2-on-2. Who is that flying down the wing? The picture's not very big on my screen. I think that's Kirby. No, is that... Oh, it's Barron coming all the way down the wing. So Justin Barron, Jesse, has been someone that early in the season really had some struggles, especially in Laval, but recently has looked like a solid player for Montreal. Have you been impressed by his offensive output so far?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really excited to kind of see what he can definitely do in the future. I'm liking as well that Pizzetta's showing a lot of energy tonight as well. They're just one of those guys you can kind of count on as well, right? So I like what Montreal's really shaping themselves. I think going ahead with just some high energy sort of guys, right? And I think that's along with the skill, right? I think that that's just so important when it comes to that playoff hockey, right? Because those type of players are definitely going to raise it up a notch.
And speaking of offense, we have a Habs power play coming here. JG Pajot gets a... That looked to me a bit like a questionable hooking call, but hey, it was called as Alex Belzile draws the penalty, just as we were talking about him. Habs are going to the power play, clearly our best asset, our power play, right? All season, totally not 32nd in the league or anything. We'll see what Montreal does here. I mean, obviously we're running with not our 1A power plays with so many bodies injured. It looks like we have Matheson and Doc running the point with Suzuki, Dadonov, and I can't tell who that fifth person is, but the Pajot in the box as Suzuki and Doc work it down low. This is going to be interesting, Jesse. I'm really excited to see if Montreal can pot a power play goal. I think if we do, it could really start us on track to maybe get the power play rolling as we get towards the end of the season.
It's getting better. It's getting better. And I think a big part of that is kind of realizing the right sort of personnel, which, we've been dealing with a lot of injuries right now. But I think with what we've had, we're starting to kind of figure out who we want there, and especially in terms of manning the point and everything else like that. So it's definitely nice to see.
So there's the classic zone entry where you feed it back to Suzuki, and then Dadonov. Dadonov on the power play has really, really struggled with keeping the puck possession in the offensive zone. That's one thing I've noticed with him, but this time he keeps it in as the Habs look like they're panicking. It looks like we can barely get the power play set up. Took us about 30 seconds there, but we're finally rolling. Suzuki has the puck on the left wing right now. He's looking to shoot. I mean, without his buddy Caulfield there, it's got to be tough for him, Jesse. Your muscle memory is going out the window as Matheson takes a clapper from the point. No one knows where it is. The Islanders clear. How do you think Suzuki is faring now that he needs to be even more of a shoot-first player without his buddy Caulfield next to him?
Well, they're definitely tuning in on him a little bit more, right? Because they know that he doesn't have that as much of that passing option that he has before, because he relies on that so much, that deception, right?
Yeah.
Of kind of, either selling the pass or, looking off the goalie for the shot, right? So, definitely that's why Caulfield and Suzuki have been playing so well together. It's like, I think they're the perfect type of players to be playing well together, So I think it goes really well for the future, but it's going to be a good opportunity for Suzuki right now to kind of figure out some things for himself. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of happy to see him taking a little bit more shots. And because I think, he's got an amazing wrister, right? Amazing one-timer. So just taking advantage of that a little bit more, might be just all the much better when Caulfield's back.
Yeah, I think so too, as we saw him actually use that deception to fire a beautiful pass across. I think it was Rem Pitlick who couldn't quite get a stick on it. And the second power play unit's out now. Boy, Jesse, this doesn't look too encouraging. It's, I think that's Christian Dvorak, Jonathan Drouin, Josh Anderson, Rem Pitlick. Boy, okay. So that's, when it comes to NHL level power plays, maybe that's not the best thing in the world, but, they got a chance there. It's working. Arbor Jacki at the point, something I really like, though. Heavy shot, as we saw in the 90-something percentile of finishing for players at his position in the NHL, so pretty good. Nice little back pass from Drouin, actually, to the point, as Jacki gets a nice shot on net, but doesn't go in. I see Lou asking, long-term center, Doc or Beck? Jesse, that's an interesting question. I think right now I have to say Kirby Doc, but I feel like we just haven't seen enough of a sample size from Owen Beck at an NHL level.
True, it's true. You got to feel like at worst that Beck is going to be a 3C, but I think he definitely has like a ceiling of a 2C, which I think is a pretty high appraisal, but I think he's capable of it. Just to like your point earlier, Josh, like I could see Kirby being a really good 2C. It's just for me, we got to figure out somebody for that top line first, right? Once Suzuki and Caulfield, because I mean, if we don't have anybody else there, it's like for me next year, I would have to put him on the wing, which then kind of changes some of those centers that I was kind of projecting, and that's why I'm kind of a fan of keeping Monahan around, just because centers, right? We know with injuries and everything else that it's important to have a lot of them, and we had a lot of them this year, and with injuries, right, we're still having to play some players sometimes out of position a little bit with Jonathan Drouin, who, let's face it, is absolutely a winger,
Yeah,
over a center.
we've tried.
So it's, yeah, so it's kind of for those reasons, like, Doc seems like he's going to be amazing, and it's just a question is, it's
Oh,
like, you
sorry,
don't
I'm going
want
to
to be
interrupt you as we
selfish,
get a goal,
but
Jesse.
yeah.
Josh Anderson working down along the boards to Raphael Harvey-Pinard, who feeds it across to Suzuki for the goal. The first line connecting again. RHP getting another point as that first line continues to roll. The power play was nothing, but Anderson, Suzuki, and RHP connect for a beauty. Oh, man, cross crease wide open for Nick. Oh, man, how awesome is it again that Raphael Harvey-Pinard is just rolling with this first line?
Oh man, it's just amazing to see. Like, he's like the spark plug of the whole team right now, right? Like,
He
what a
is.
beautiful setup. He set that up all the
Oh,
way. He put it on a platter for him. Like, it's just so nice to see players like that work hard, get what they deserve, and it's just got to feel like $1,000,000 to him right now.
oh, for sure. I mean, that was a beautiful goal, too. That was all started, by the way, with Josh Anderson's work down on the boards. He was fighting off two players to keep that puck alive as Harvey-Pinard gets right in there. Dirty areas again. The beautiful feed. Now, that wasn't an easy angle for Suzuki either. I mean, that was a pretty sharp one as he manages to put it in the back of the net. And we get Harvey-Pinard right down again with another slot pass. But this time it was stopped by Sorokin. Oh my goodness, the shots are 10-2, and this first line is just unreal right now, Jesse.
Oh man, I am so excited, honestly, to see this because it's like I want them to get a win with those powder blues. I like them.
Yeah.
I want the curse to end. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're all right. Jerseys. It's just the record in them, and I think a lot of that has to do with that going back to last year. But it's the energy, right? Like, he's just coming full. That was a grade A opportunity. That Harvey set up. Kind of once again. So it's for me, it's he's going to be somebody to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's like John says in the chat there. Pinard is constantly doing something constructive, and I think that's a very good point. Harvey-Pinard, I haven't seen him make a mistake yet for Montreal, and he plays with a ton of energy. He has the puck on his stick a decent bit, and for him not to be making a ton of mistakes is great. I also see Riv saying, thanks for the commentary, fellas. Had to go into work this morning. Unfortunately, had to go into work, Riv, but we're here. We're hoping to do this a lot more in the future, so quickly, anyone who's in chat, like, is there anything else you guys want us to do? Let us know how you think the stream's going so far. I hope we're providing enough commentary for you guys, not much dead air. We're having a ton of fun. Glad we have all of you, I think 30-something viewers here in the chat with us. If you know anyone else who might be interested in watching this stream to go along with the game, to chat with us, huge Habs fans, let them know, because we'd love to spread the word around. So Pinard definitely in his place on the first line, as Chris says. Yeah, it's weird, right? Jesse, this guy was a fourth line grinder, and he's gone all the way up to the first line. Like, how does that change your perspective if you're him? Like, a guy who has always needed to work and work and work, get to the next level, but to see a coach like Martin St. Louis realize your potential and just say, screw it, we don't have anything to lose, first line. That's gotta be an incredible boost to the ego.
It does, and I think that's all they need, right? Hockey players say all the time, you get a little bit of confidence, coach just puts you in a good position, and it's amazing what you can really do from there. So much of the game is kind of mental, and I think that this is like, you can't write like a better start for him. But besides about what I'm saying about Harvey-Pinard, I mean, which is a whole lot and exactly the type of hockey that I like to see the Montreal Canadiens playing, is like, I think it says so much about Martin St. Louis, which what I'm so happy about is we know that Martin St. Louis too, like, he's about tough love. Like, he's not going to just give people spots either. We've seen that with Slavkovsky. We even saw that, with a little bit of Caulfield last year as well. So it means, if you're getting that spot, it means you really deserve it. But unfortunate with the Islanders tying it up there, eh?
I didn't want to say anything because you were doing such a good job, but unfortunately, it looks like that was kind of a beautiful tip by Brock Nelson, not going to lie. The accuracy shootout winner at the All-Star weekend puts his stick between his legs to tip a Noah Dobson point shot as it just gets past Montembeault. Not much you can do on that. A nice tip job. Ties up the game 1-1 as we head into this break. But, man, like, this is pretty awesome, hey? I mean, just being able to do this. 1-1, nice Habs Saturday afternoon game. Jesse, what do you think about this time slot? You like it or no?
Yeah, like, it's pretty chill. I like, for sure, nothing kind of beats Saturday night hockey, but I think it's so nice, and especially I like it on the Sundays too, right? Because it's kind of chill like that in the afternoon. Just kind of relax and watch a game, I think that's great. So I'm a fan of it. I know it's different for the players, right? Getting them off the routine and everything, but it's good to switch it up. I like it.
Yeah, I think so too. Tommy says stream is great, and maybe in the future add a timer so we can sync our stream to yours. Tommy, that's a good idea. The timer we actually have down there is pretty darn close. This is just, you can see it says 4:53 left in the first. Obviously, it's not a live updating one. This is just the ESPN sort of score overlay, but it's about as close as it gets to our streams because I'm just going to be honest, my computer can't really handle much more than it's doing right now, so I don't have the stream open on my computer, and even if I did, if I put a little capture around the actual game timer, it'd be capturing a bit of commercials and stuff, and it might be strange, so maybe we can find some other workaround, but honestly, this timer right here is about as close as we have, so if you're trying to sync up to that every now and then, maybe we can say the time out every now and then so you can sync up to us. That's about as good as we can do, unfortunately. And Hawko says, Pinard and Wi-Fi, very unexpected and two biggest surprises this year. Jesse, would you agree with that? Do you think those are maybe the two biggest surprises this year, or do you have someone else in mind? Because honestly, for me, I think they are my top two. Do you have a different idea?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, right? For really kind of standing out, for being fan favorites. I think Jack-Eye, Slavkovsky, and our newcomer here, HP, I think they're the fan favorites right now. And I think it's really, really well deserved. I would say that one other thing is, like, I knew that Gouli was going to be good, had good feeling, watching his junior career, but he's even better than I expected. So I would say that's also one of the biggest surprises for me this year.
Yeah, and the awesome thing about Caden Gouli is finally back on the ice. He was, we had high hopes, but didn't realize he'd be literally our best defenseman coming in this season. But Jack-Eye for sure, and Raphael Harvey-Pinard. But this performance is amazing. I would have said Jesse Ullinen a bit too, because Ullinen, for a little while, was also on the first line when he first came up, although he got sent down, he's got called back, but I think he has some potential, some sticking power potential as well. Mm-hmm. I see Daniel saying, I suggest watching the superb passing skill of Philippe Méchard. He's a natural center who can obviously play very well on the wing, and I think that's a good point too, and he is a natural center, but correct me if I'm wrong, he's been playing a lot of wing with Kitchener this year. His point production has fallen off a little bit as we get a Habs 3-on-2 pass to the net, just tipped into Sorokin. That was a great chance by Montreal, but yeah, Jesse, where do you think Méchard ends up sliding in on the Habs in the future? I mean, we have a lot of centers. I think he could very well be a solid winger on this team. Would you agree, or do you think maybe he projects also as a center for Montreal?
It's interesting. I think he kind of projects wherever Slavkovsky's going to be. And for that reason, I think his chances of being a center increase dramatically. Yeah. Because we all saw it, right? Like in the preseason, his chemistry with Slavkovsky is undeniable, like off the ice, but on the ice for sure, in a very limited sample size of playing together, which I'm sure they played together a lot, just, aside from, from professional leagues, is they really played really well. They really gelled well together. I think it's inevitable. I think they'll try to, try different combinations, but I think they're just going to kind of keep coming back to that one. I think, at worst, he could be a winger on another line with Slavkovsky, but there could be a chance, just because of his chemistry, how good it is, that could maybe, kind of vault him into a center type of position.
I think it's just all about fit and how these guys perform at the next level when they get the chance. I think trying to project at this level, especially with guys in junior, guys who are natural centers, a lot of the time end up projecting as wings at the NHL level. So I think we'll need to see a little more from Philippe Méchard, and hopefully he has a bit better of a bounce back. He started to bounce back recently in the OHL, but I think he has a lot more left in him as Montembeault covers up the puck here. This game has been a bit of fun so far. Montreal out shooting the Islanders as we go to another commercial break. I'm having a ton of fun here. This is kind of wild, kind of crazy that we get to do this. Hey, I feel like a real pro. Like, I feel like I'm in the TSN booth trying to talk about the game with my co-commentator, eh?
Well, it's the best, right? And kind of getting to hear from the Habs Digest community a little bit and hearing some different questions and kind of their thoughts, like live, right? It's always nice in the comment section, but it's nice when we can kind of have the back and forth and kind of react to the game together. Like, to be honest, this is my favorite, because as I mentioned earlier, like I love the recaps and I love the games. That's my favorite part. The news is amazing, but there's just, everything is based off of the game, right?
It is.
So to be able to kind of all watch the game together, I know I was excited the whole day for this, getting to try it for the first time, and definitely something we're going to want to be doing in the future. And I know we're sometimes working some different time zones and everything else like that. But I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more of this because it's whole lot of fun.
Yeah, the time zone issue can be an issue, but overall, I mean, like, we make it work. We get the videos out almost every day for you guys, and yeah, I mean, this seems to be going pretty well so far. I mean, knock on wood, hopefully nothing happens to the stream or anything as we move along forward. I am noticing, too, this timer is actually maybe 10 or 15 seconds fast, because I was looking last time, it was said 3:05 when I was at about 3:15. So for those of you who want to maybe rewind 10 seconds and maybe you'll be a little more in sync with us now, as we got 34 people in here watching this, which is more than I figured, Jesse. I mean, this is our first time ever streaming. I think that shows to all you out there who are watching, this is quite a dedicated fan base. I'm going to ask this question to anyone who's in the chat, who's willing to talk. Like, where did you first see us? Was it on the YouTube recommended? Did you see us through another YouTube channel and like a recommended video? I'm very curious to hear whichever you were in the comment section, how you first saw your first Habs Digest video. And yeah, because we only started this year, but Jesse, it's gone way better than we could have ever imagined.
It's been so much fun, right? And just kind of getting to chat with you every day too, and just it's something like we were following the team anyway, right? Yeah. And so something we've been doing for a long time, and just to get to share, right, and to hear other people's opinions, and for hockey's something for me, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a nice break for everybody, get away from work and everything else. Sometimes is sit down and watch the hockey game, right, and kind of be able to share that with other people. Like, we're just blown away from the support. Like, we honestly really appreciate it. We check out all the comments, and just, like the love, like, that we're getting, just the positive feedback all the time. Like, it does matter to us, right? It's, it kind of keeps us motivated. It's something we have a lot of fun doing, right? But it just makes it that much funner when we know you guys are appreciating as well and enjoying, our content and everything else. But I mean, it's been so much fun, right? Way better than I could ever expect. And, we definitely got all the viewers to thank for that.
Yeah, for sure. It's been so amazing, and like you said, we're following the team anyway. But being able to just chat about your favorite team with a buddy who also watches hockey, like it's just so fun. Like, it's not even like work or anything, but you guys have been making it all worth it for us. And we get a few comments here. Tommy says, "Can't wait to see what Sean Farrell can do at the NHL level. He's very intriguing to me. His ceiling keeps getting higher." I think that's a good point. I think his recent performance, including a 5-point game yesterday, is really vaulting him in the Hobey Baker conversation. I see some people saying maybe he won't project to be an NHL star, but regardless, Jesse, that guy's been putting up crazy point totals in the NCAA recently.
Yeah, like, I can't believe that people aren't talking about Sean Farrell more. I can't believe we're not talking about Sean Farrell more. It's actually been something I've wanted to bring up on the cast for sure, just because, like, that he's a great hockey player, but he's a smart dude too. We're not just saying that because of the, the Harvard sort of thing. Like, but I think that's, again, what's gonna make him such a great player. That's what really kind of stands out for him, and I know that I kind of mentioned that on a couple players like Suzuki and Gooley, but it's like, these are cerebral players, and I think that, it's a great way to kind of build an organization. Like, with the way the game is played so quick now, is you need somebody with processing speed that can make decisions on the fly. Like, these hockey players, like, they're smart dudes, some people think they're just athletes. Like, to be able to perform at this level, make the decisions that they're making, just really shows their intelligence, which I think in sports is a very underrated fact, and kind of a conversation that definitely needs to change. I think it's definitely being started to be recognized a little bit more. But yeah, so it's, I could definitely see him, like, making the second line at some point. I think, he could definitely, start off around the fourth or third line. I'd love to see him kind of start off on third line, give him a possibility to succeed, because I think he's got offensive capabilities, right? And I think we need to take advantage of that. We want to be an offensive team. Like, sure, he's not the biggest guy, but I could see him being an amazing player. Like, like, even I'd give him a look in the future with Suzuki and Caulfield on the first line, again, just for being really smart players. Some people might argue you want a little bit more size on that first line, but to give it a shot, I think you got to think that the Habs staff is at least going to give it a look at some point.
Yeah, with how the NHL is trending towards skilled players recently, I wouldn't say that's too far out of the question. I'd love to see what he does when he finally makes that transition to the NHL, as we get a David Savard to Jonathan Drouin. Beautiful outlet pass, as he couldn't quite put it past. It's Varlamov. I've been saying it's Sorokin the whole game, but it's actually Varlamov in net. My apologies, but he makes a good save. And we see Apostle of JPL, 2024 Montreal first round pick and Wi-Fi for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Unfortunately, I think the Jets hang up immediately on that. But again, as we get closer and closer to the end of Pierre-Luc Dubois' contract, it wouldn't surprise me if the Jets start taking less and less just to know that they can get some type of asset for him. And Jack has been making a good name for himself. I mean, he'd be a decent fit on the Jets, who are already pretty physical. So maybe something similar to that's not out of the question, but I feel like the Jets might not say yes to that just yet. Riv says, I watch all the Hockey Junkies videos. I think you guys were recommended from there. It's awesome to hear that we're getting recommended from Hockey Junkies videos. Obviously, we watch his videos too. I've spoken to him. Great guy. Fellow Newfoundlander. If you guys didn't know, I'm from Newfoundland. Hockey Junkie is also from Newfoundland. So pretty cool that we have a couple decent Habs YouTubers from the island. And I got from Lou. Jesse, I'll direct this question to you because I think it's interesting as well. Are we going to see Anthony Richard again this season, or is it done for him in Montreal?
And we have so many prospects, but I was reading, an article about that, and they were mentioning how his agent has been in talks with the team, just kind of regarding him kind of coming up in the future. And he mentioned that those talks have been positive. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Richard, when asked about it, had said that, if he plays well, he knows that he's going to be called up, and it's just going to be a matter of time. He's somebody else that I'm really interested in. He's scoring that first goal, I believe it was, in his first call up. He definitely has some capability, right? It's amazing. We kind of underrate like what a skilled and high level of league that the NHL is, right? Because we're talking about a guy who's dominating the AHL offensively. And it's just so interesting to see, like, unless you're a premier talent, you're going to often go from just dominating the AHL in terms of points and then going to a defensive role. Yeah. Somehow when you come to the NHL, it just really speaks like there is a huge jump in the level of play. Like the level that we're watching tonight in hockey is, it's the best that it's ever been, right? And it's very, very high. And it's something that just, keeps improving all the time, right? So that's what's amazing to see. That's what kind of keeps us tuned in as fans, definitely. But it's going to be hard to say going forward.
Hard to say. I mean, he brings that level of speed. Of course, the name that Habs fans love to repeat. Richard on the break. Of course, he had that breakaway goal against Colorado. And I made him black and white in the thumbnail. Richard! But that was, he's an interesting player. I could see him playing again with Montreal as we get past the trade deadline. If we trade some more forwards away, it wouldn't shock me if he was one of the guys to get called up. Maybe we send Ullinen down and we bring Richard back up to sort of fill in there. But it's an interesting question. I feel like it's more than likely that he won't get a ton more time with Montreal, but he's a fun player, and I hope he continues to dominate. Then we get Andrew saying hi from Slovakia. Ahoy, as we open every video with. Love our Slovakian fans, for people living in Slovakia. Juraj Slavkovsky obviously has been such a huge story, and we love talking about him. Unfortunately, still injured. What's interesting though, Jesse, I was looking at an injury thing, and on it said Caulfield out for season, but it said Slavkovsky 3 months. So I feel like Montreal, while basically they've said Slavkovsky's out for the season, they haven't officially yet. Do you think there's ever a world where Slav comes back before the end of the season and plays a few games? Or if you're Montreal, do you just say, listen, man, just sit out. We're not having you risk it. Get a full summer of rehab.
I do, because you know that he wants to come back. Like, he's that type of player, right? Yeah. Like, Juraj Slavkovsky is just type of dude that just loves hockey, right? And we've seen it with Caden Gooley, just recently, right? He's projected to come back much earlier. I would personally love to see him, because I think that this is take your time that he needs. And I think that, Montreal management's been really clear about this year. Is like, if there's players injured, if there's players that need time, we're taking the time off, right? We're trying to develop. But, I think that this year, because there's a little bit less pressure, I think it's the perfect year for him just to get as much NHL hockey as possible. So if he can come back, and that's in his best interest, then, I'm definitely all here for that.
Yeah, me too. So we're in the first intermission now. We got 36 viewers here now, 202 total views on the stream, which is honestly way better than I could have ever expected from our first stream. So thank you to each and every one of you who are here watching, even during the intermission. I guess there's no game to be on, so you're here to hear us talk. Jesse, I had some people asking about some different Habs prospects, like saying maybe could we talk about some prospects during the intermission of the video, and I think we've touched on a few of them already, but I'm going to bounce some prospect names out there, and Someone asked if we could maybe give him grades. I haven't looked a ton into the prospects, but I got a couple that I wouldn't mind tossing around. And the first one is Lane Hutson, our favorite guy to talk about. At this point in the season, Habs prospect grade, if I had to give Lane Hutson a grade, I would say it's an A to an A+. Would you agree with that sentiment, or do you think it's maybe A++ or higher?
It has to be an A.
Yeah.
It has to be an A for sure, the way that he's played so far. Even at the World Juniors under a lot of pressure, being one of the younger type of guys in that tournament, I thought he played great. I don't think he can ask much more, right? He's winning almost every award that you can win. He's just racking up the points. Like we mentioned, he's getting up to the legend status in terms of points from a defenseman as a rookie in the NCAA. Mm-hmm. So I'd say that you have to give him at the very least an A.
Yeah, at the very least an A. I think so too. I think his performance, and of course there's an article that came out the other day talking about saying the medical reports are true. He is 5'10 now. He's growing, and if Montreal can get him to put on some muscle, actually I saw in the article they said maybe we're hoping that Lane Hutson can grow to 7 feet tall, but that hasn't been proven that it can happen medically yet. So can you imagine?
Growing.
Yeah, Zdeno Chara 2.0 with the offensive skill set of a forward. That would be something crazy, but no, he looks pretty great. I'm taking a look now at some Twitter, some tweets. People are talking about pizza. I'm not really sure why. Oh, Arpambasu. Turns out the Canadiens have a promotion where everyone in attendance gets a free slice of pizza if they score the first goal. Had no idea. Probably because this was just the 18th time in 52 games this season they've done it. No idea how often this happened at home. Jesse, that's been a big struggle. Montreal scoring first this season, hey? But when we've done it, I feel like we've put in some good games like today.
Yeah, that's why they're playing with such an effort tonight, eh? They're kind of rallying for the fans, get them some pizza. Yeah, no, it's been a great start to the game so far. I think that's been one of our biggest weaknesses, right? Is kind of the little bit of the slower starts and kind of having a claw back in the games, getting down early. Part of that is just from letting too many shots on net, and a lot of those kind of coming in that first period. Yeah. But it's nice to see, we got so many injuries right now. We got a lot of players from the AHL in our lineup, and to be putting forth an effort like this against the Islanders, who are trying to get back in the playoff picture, it's good to see.
It really is. Islanders, of course, trading for Bo Horvat. It was a huge trade, and they're hoping they can fight the other New York team who went out and got Tarasenko. So there's a big battle in New York and even New Jersey. Those three teams all in the New York City metro area really fighting, and even Buffalo. Like, all the teams in New York and New Jersey are really fighting to be in the playoffs, so that'll be fun to watch as we get closer to the end of the season. We have Dylan saying, I'd love to see Slav come back and play, but at the same time I would like to maybe see him take the rest of the season just so he's fully healthy and ready for next year. Don't risk re-aggravating it. And then Andrew follows up with, the question is, if he does come back, will they let him play in the IIHF? To the first point, I think you're right. I think that's kind of everyone's thought, right? Like, what's the risk versus reward of seeing Slav on the ice at the end of the season? Yeah, there's a bit of fanfare, but if Montreal is clearly not fighting for a playoff spot, getting him minutes is pretty good, but all the same, I think, like we kind of just talked about, letting him get a full season or summer to rehab and relax is good. Come back the same time as Caulfield. IIHF. Jesse, we saw that in the World Juniors, the Habs just didn't even talk to Slavkovsky, basically didn't give him an option. So unfortunately for Team Slovakia fans, you gotta think that, as he's rehabbing from injury, Montreal probably, even if he does play in the NHL at the end of the season, Montreal probably won't let him play internationally. What do you think?
I don't think so either. And I think it's kind of part of a player development is that even if you could see benefit of them kind of doing that, I think that once you're at a certain level, it's just, not really wanting to kind of go back from that either. But yeah, I think that Slovakia, it'd be great to see him in some international competition at some point, but I think their main focus is just kind of keeping them with the Habs at this point in time.
Yeah, I think so too. Really unfortunate for those of you who are fans of Team Slovakia or you Slovakian viewers. But Slav, I think Montreal's top priority is keeping him healthy, letting him develop as much as possible as we move into next season. We got another question. Is Joshua Waugh going to be in Montreal next year? That's an interesting one. Because Joshua Waugh, obviously in the World Juniors, he was on that top line with Connor Bedard. He was really showing the skill set he has, the incredible skill. When the QMJHL, he's fallen off a little bit recently, not putting up as many points as we maybe would have expected. And some people were saying maybe his game won't translate to the next level. But in my opinion, he's going to be there at training camp, just like he was, or just like all these other prospects were this year. And I think they'll give him a shot. I think they'll give him every opportunity to make the team. But whether or not he actually makes it, I think that's going to really depend on the other prospects who perform around him, with the likes of, Owen Beck, Philip Méchard. We'll see how good they play. I mean, they're still both very young, and Waz, I think, a year older than him, but I think it all depends on, because Montreal's prospect pool is pretty darn good. It's not going to be easy to get a roster spot.
No, it's true. But I could see him having a really good camp, because for one thing that he kind of showed me is a little bit of that work ethic, right? A hard-working type of player. And that's what we're seeing from the Canadiens tonight, and also combining that skill along with that. So I could see him having a strong training camp, but it might be in his best interest to get him at least half a year to a full year in the AHL. I think most likely what would probably happen is him playing in the AHL next year, and then, some injuries kind of calling up, being a call-up from, somewhere maybe around halfway through the season. And then, kind of similar to what we've seen so far this year, right, with HP kind of coming up. And very much like HP, I could see him playing so well that he just kind of sticks around from the team from there, because I think that this guy has given us every reason to believe in him. He's really performed in those high-pressure environments. And for me, that matters a lot, because playing well, in the World Jays with Team Canada, that's like, if you can be good under pressure there, which there is a ton, like the whole country's watching, then, that kind of shows you might be good with the Montreal Canadiens too, another spot where you're going to have a ton of pressure. So like I said, I think Joshua Watt's given us every reason to believe in him at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. He might not score 50 goals again like he did last year. He currently has 25 goals in 38 games after getting 51 in 66 last season. He's 60 points in 38 games, and let me just check the pace for that. So 119 in 66 last year was 1.8 points per game. And what's he at this year? 60 and 38? 1.57. So his point production has fallen off a little bit this year, which is a little worrying for a prospect who's a little overaged for the QMJHL, but at the same time, he's shown, like you said, Jesse, when he's playing with that elite talent around him, he looks like one of the best players on the ice. So you got to wonder if it's just maybe an effort thing in the Q, kind of like, all right, I'm done with this. Maybe that boost to the AHL where he needs to work harder. He'll make that step, or maybe if Montreal gives him the opportunity. So I can totally see Joshua Waugh making that step and making the Habs next year, but like I said, it's not going to be easy. Jesse, another prospect I wanted to mention, I'm not sure how much longer is left in this intermission. I don't really know. I've kind of lost track of time. This feels like it's flying, eh? But no, right? Yeah. One guy I wanted to talk about too is Logan Mailloux, a guy who has shown a lot of goal-scoring prowess in the OHL this season. He's consistently up there near the top 5 in the Habs power rankings, maybe just outside it. He's looked amazing as a goal-scoring defenseman, another offensive defenseman in the Habs prospect system, and we spoke about him a bit the other day in our video talking about Lane Hudson. Logan Mailloux, does he have sort of a spot waiting for him in Montreal if he can really step up his game over the next year or two, or do you think that he's really going to have to work to make it on the right side? Because right now Montreal is a bit lacking at that right-handed defenseman position.
I think it's exactly what we need. I think that he will have a spot, but it's interesting to see, because it seems like the way that we have with some call-ups we might be even having, like with Jaden Struble coming up, probably maybe very soon that he might be in this roster. It's like we could almost fill out 6 defensemen just from almost rookies at this point in time, which is crazy, right? So it's like, how much veterans do we want to keep around with that? I think that you definitely want to keep around like at least 2. You know what I mean? Because we have so many good prospects, like it kind of means you maybe want to leave out a couple more inexperienced guys just to leave some space for them, but you still need a couple, right? Because we're seeing this year with, they can be good, but, being a defenseman is just one of those positions where just, experience matters so much, and I think it just has a stabilizing effect on the whole team. So I think it'll be really interesting to watch, but I think we're going to have a bunch of defensemen that are going to really raise up their value quite a bit. And then we're going to basically just be able to pick, who do we want to keep going forward and who do we want to get some amazing assets for to also bolster other parts of our team, because I feel like defense is going to be one of the stronger points on our team going forward in a couple years.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money there, Jesse, especially with the experience part, right? Like we can theorize about all these defensemen, but even when prospects look like they're going to be amazing, the only defensive prospect that Montreal has played this season that hasn't been making a ton of rookie mistakes is Caden Gooley, and even he has done it, right? But we see Justin Barron, Jordan Harris, Jonathan Kovacevic, Arbor Jacki constantly making like little mistakes that kind of get mitigated with experience. So having these guys play at a higher level is really, really important, which is why someone like Mailloux, I'm going to get to the other chats in the meantime, but Dylan says there he's from London and he watches a lot of the Knights games, and he's really impressed with how Logan Mailloux is playing right now. I'm excited to see what he could do in camp next year. I agree completely. I think Logan Mailloux is going to be a full-time defenseman in the AHL next season because of his big body, but getting that next level experience is very important for him. Wales Delta, thanks for the answer. So there's the possibility to see Watt, Mailloux, and perhaps Beck and Hudson in Laval next year. I think it's possible. I'm not sure if Lane... I think it's possible we get all those guys in Laval next year. I don't really know how it works with prospects and whether they go to the AHL or stay in their current leagues, but I think that's for sure a possibility. I think that Mailloux and Beck for sure and Waugh will all be in Laval. So like Hudson, I think as soon as he gets the opportunity, might even be with Montreal. I think they have so much hype in him. Getting him experience at the next level is super, super important. And Jesse, this next question I'm going to refer to you. Do you guys think we could even get a 4th round pick for Dadonov? What do you think? A 4th for Dadonov, or do you think we want a little bit more?
Maybe for Hoffman. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. Like, to be honest, I haven't been too much of a fan, and it's just so disappointing because he's capable of, like we've seen him, right, with other teams, play some great hockey and everything else. To be honest, I'll be happy with whatever we get. Like, like I could see anywhere from a 4th to a 6th. Mm-hmm. Like the same with Drouin. Like, do you honestly, like, what do you think is going to happen with Jonathan Drouin at this deadline, Josh? And what do you think we're going to get back for him?
I think Jonathan Drouin, I think if Montreal trades him, at most they'll get back, I think, a 3rd or 4th round pick and not much more than that. And it's unfortunate because Jonathan Drouin just hasn't shown the ability to stay on the ice. And when he has stayed on the ice, his production really hasn't been there. He's getting some power play time here and there, but even then he's not producing on it. He's had a couple of small flashes, but I really don't think a lot. I think some team is going to take... Now, we spoke about this at length the other day, Jesse. I think Jonathan Drouin, in the right situation with a lot less pressure, still has maybe a 40, 50-point season left in him. He's not that old or anything. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think that's going to happen in Montreal, and I think you're pretty much on the same page, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Like we were saying, it's like you have the feeling that he's going to go to another team and he's actually going to play decent hockey because it's there. It just, as everybody kind of knows, and it's almost kind of repetitive to say, but it's like it's kind of like a mind game thing with Drouin. I just think the pressure in Montreal is just too much. It's so unfortunate to say like that there couldn't have been a way to kind of figure that out. But at the same time, we're definitely not going to hate on him. We're going to wish him the best. I mean, I don't think he's having a terrible game so far tonight. And that's just the thing that's kind of frustrating. It's like, that it's there, but it's just kind of that consistency. But you have to have the feeling that he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to play better. And it's not anything personal. I don't think he's trying to be spiteful to the Habs or to the fans or anything else. I just think that, he needs a change of scenery, and that'll probably unlock something for him.
I think so too. I see Urban Youth saying bag of pucks. I'm not sure if he's talking about Drouin or Hoffman or Dadonov. And honestly, if we get a nice bag of pucks, I'd give away all 3. Outrage says, does Monahan stay or do we let him go? I know, Jesse, you've been a big proponent of keeping Monahan around if it's a good team deal. I think if Montreal can get anything for him at this trade deadline, maybe it'd be worth it, especially considering his rough injury history. How much do you think Montreal would need to get, Jesse, if you were to change your mind and say, that's fine, we can trade Monahan? Do you think it'd have to be like a 1st round pick for you to say yes, or no matter what, you kind of want to keep him around on a team-friendly deal to help mentor these guys?
It's hard to say. I think that there is a lot of value to keeping him around because, as we know, is that he doesn't just have to play center. Yep. He's a really versatile type of player. Center, it's your most important player, right? So even though with the injury history, like, and then even this year, right? Like, you got to feel like he is actually going to be traded, though, just because if he wouldn't have got injured this year, and everything else, it's like, I just think it's maybe a little bit too much of an unknown for the Montreal Canadiens. I think they're pretty pragmatic on that. And I think, like, for that reason, like, he is probably going to be gone. But it's just for me, it's like we're looking at all these young guys, right, that are looking to come into the Habs organization next year. We're looking at HB, who's like probably already like got us carved out a spot for him here. It's like we need more veterans. Like we can't have Suzuki as being like the vet in the room, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like you can't just be a vet for like an organization to be healthy. Like you need to be a vet and you need to have skills. Because let's be real here. It's like I think respect in the locker room's a big thing, and nothing kind of buys that respect, but the skills. So you need a vet that it's like, okay, I respect him because he's been in the league a long time, and probably more important, like he really knows how to play.
He does.
And I think that that's important, just have a stabilizing force, you know, in the NHL. So, you know, it's, but like you said, right, it's almost like a crapshoot at this point, you know, because he very well could have injury trouble next year as well. But I mean, I think you got to take a flyer on him. I think he played so well on the time that he's here. Let's just chalk it up to bad luck. Let's try to sign him to a 2-year deal. Hope that he stays, you know, healthy in that time, because I think if he does, he would help out this team a ton. Like we were playing pretty good with him in the lineup, and I think like the Habs went off a cliff in a lot of ways, and for sure he wasn't the only one injured. But for me, like one of the biggest factors for our play going down, which arguably could have been what's best for this team this year, though, is like the Sean Monahan injury, just because he brought so much to this team.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, he was so like dominant, holding the puck in the offensive zone and stuff. Like he brought a lot out of the players around him, and I think that kind of veteran leadership and ability to put points on the board is extremely valuable for a team. But yeah, we have some other comments here saying Habs have way too much dead weight, like Duane Hoffman, Galley, Dadonov, and Urban Youth says Monahan's worth a second rounder. But just he said he's not reliable, and I think what he means by not reliable is the health issue. Like, how much do you weigh on that health issue with Monahan, someone who has missed extensive time every year? And I mean, he's really not getting much younger.
A lot, but at the same time, as you know that he's really tough, and then he battles through injury, and he's playing a lot of time when he could very easily be taking that time off.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you gotta love a player like that. You know, I think that's the old school type, and I think that's something you want to keep in the NHL and in your team, right? I think that's really important. I think you don't want to put yourself, you know, you don't want to hurt yourself to a point where you're, you know, potentially threatening your career. But I think it's important to play through some injuries sometimes. Like it's a tough game. It's gonna happen. You can't just be having players sit down every time. Like if you have an injury, it's one thing. If it's an injury you can't play with, you know, it's like that's when you sit. So for me, it's like, I don't know, like Sean Monahan just got a lot of respect, you know, from me. So it's like, you know, I think that we're going to get a first rounder from one way. And I think that the most likely would either be Edmondson, Monahan. But, you know, you got to think that either one of those three, including Anderson's gonna be gone, if not at least 2 or 3, you know, to maybe all 3 of them. That I would be surprised about for sure, you know, but yeah, I would definitely, I don't know. I just feel like Monahan's just a guy you got to keep around.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Monahan's a cool guy, and I'm for trading him if we get a right package. But I totally see where you're coming from, and because that kind of stuff is that kind of player is not very easy to find. And I see Zechariah asking, do you think Slavkovsky will be a bust? Now I assume that's an honest question, and my honest answer is no. I think a lot of people have been repeating that, saying like this bad first season plus the injury really doesn't bode well for him. Sure, he didn't have the season that maybe Habs fans would have wanted from a number 1 overall pick, but I don't think we can say for sure he'll be a star or for sure he'll be a bust yet. But what I will say is that his teammates, especially Suzuki, if you listen to his Spit and Chicklets interview, is extremely confident in him. The coaching staff is doing everything they can to keep his development going. And as Hoopty says, Slav needs to play with Mayshard. Tommy says, no way Slav is a bust. I like the comparison to Joe Thornton's development. Slow and steady will do it. And also, thank you, Hoopty. What's up? Love the videos. We love you too for being around, Hoopty. We love every single fan that takes their time to come in here. And we got a bunch of Slavkovsky stuff coming in here. Slav needs space on a line. He likes speed. That's why he's done well with Mayshard and Tatar. Yeah, Jesse, I mean, that's one thing that we've seen with Slav. He spent a lot of time on the 4th line with the likes of Evans and Pizzetta kind of slowing him down. I know we were big proponents of playing him a bit more on the first line. Do you think that was a bit of a wasted opportunity, not putting him up there a little more when Doc was moved to our second line center?
It could have been. We were already starting to get a lot of injuries there. But yeah, like I totally agree with that point. because, a lot of the time, too, we were playing with Dvorak this year, and that's just not the type of player. Dvorak's not terrible, you know what I mean, for sure. But, I completely agree that Slavkovsky, he needs to play with pace.
Yeah.
And that's his bread and butter. And if he keeps his feet moving, everything else, like, a big body like that, I think he could really make some things happen. So I think that that's going to be his key to success. And I do think that he plays well within the Montreal system, which is, kind of, making those fast breaks off of turnovers, right? Kind of being a counter type of team. I see him being a really good fit. And I think that he just needs line mates that really got some wheels that are really going to push him, which I thought Monahan was also a good fit with him, which for me is another reason to kind of keep him around, because I feel like he might be a good fit with Slavkovsky on a second line going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of potential left there. I think there's so many more lineups to explore with Slavkovsky in it, and we'll see a lot more next season when he comes back fully healthy. Urban Youth is asking, would you redraft Slav at number 1? I would take Lane Hudson at number 1 if I was to redraft. But in all seriousness, like, Hudson looks amazing. I still have faith that Slavkovsky will be good. The thing is, like, we haven't seen much from any of those top prospects, and I think it's way too early to do a redraft. Like, doing a redraft 1 year after is never going to give a full picture, right? Someone like Slavkovsky especially is going to be developing and really not show us the player he's going to be long-term until he's 22 years old or something, right? So, I really think that we need to wait before we see who's going to go number 1. And Jesse, this might be more geared towards you, but De Poirier's comments, they say best page ever. So I'm sure you know who might be running that, but thank you very much. We try to do what we can to keep you guys happy. Tommy says RHB,
love you, baby.
Yeah, we got RHB down. We got a holding call coming up against the Islanders as Montreal is going back to the power play. Let's watch a replay. For those of you that want to sync up your streams, we just watched the Islanders player, I think, was that Pizzetta? I think it's to tackle them into the Montreal bench as they show a little replay of a bad block shot where Harvey Pinard takes it to the leg. Hopefully he'll be okay. He's a tough guy, but it's never easy taking a slapper from a defenseman to the leg. I think he'll be all right. And Real Hoopty says Slav, Doc, Meshar, and Pinard, Richard, Bedard. oh my goodness! Like, can you imagine that? Pinard, Richard, Bedard on the first line, right? Oh man, that'd be great.
Right? So they'd play well together too. I know Bedard's probably a little bit of higher skill, but it's like, that's, wouldn't be throw Raw in there.
Yeah,
get the four wingers going. I'm here for it.
All right, well, we get Aho going to the box, of course, for trying to DDT Michael Pizzetta like a wrestling move. That was rough. Pizzetta looks to be okay, no worse for wears. Varlamov makes a really nice glove save on a Mike Hoffman one-timer. Of course, theoretical goal scorer Mike Hoffman putting in a little bit of effort there. That could have easily gone in, but Varlamov makes the save. Outright says Aho tried to murder Pez. I think he tried to murder him, but he didn't get away with it. Michael Pizzetta is a lot harder to kill than that. And we get Urban Youth asking, does anyone know the odds on Bedard? Right now, I'm not really sure. I think if you add up Montreal's odds with their Florida pick, it's something around, I don't know, I want to say like between 15 and 20% that we get the first overall pick. It's not that high right now, especially with how many teams in the NHL suck. That was almost a good scoring chance. But like, the Blackhawks are going to be moving Kane and Taves for sure, and they're already bad. The Blue Jackets have just been horribly bad this season. The Ducks continue to struggle. Even the Canucks are worse than Montreal right now. So there are a lot of teams that Montreal's going to have to pass in the tank race before we get a much higher chance at number 1, and Florida's starting to bounce back a bit, so not sure on the full odds, but it's not amazing, but probably about 1 in 5 that we could get Bedard. Urban Youth says 8%. It might be 8% for just one of the picks, so maybe it's actually lower than I thought. It might be like 8% for Montreal, but you got to add that to Florida's percentage, right? And I'm not sure what theirs is right now. Actually, I'm not even sure if they're in the lottery anymore. One of you guys in the comment section can update us on that. If anyone has the actual odds, 15 to 20 might not be right, but if someone can go to Tankathon and add up Montreal's odds for the first pick and Florida's, that would be really appreciated. Okay, Tommy says Raphael Harvey Pinard's back on the bench, which is awesome to hear, Jesse, as we're nearing the end of another brutal power play with very few chances. I mean, do you think something needs to change with this? Is it coaching? Is it... I mean, personnel definitely isn't great, but man, it's frustrating to see this happen game after game.
It's the personnel, but to be honest, like, it's a lot of the right ideas. Doc is looking great. Mm-hmm. What's great, is like, being patient with the puck, behind the offensive goal line, and I think he's looking for the right play. He's trying to get a play at the front of the net. He's trying to set something up there. He's looking composed, with the puck, So for me, I definitely want to see him on the power play next year. I think it's a no-brainer now that, that Doc's kind of carved out that spot for him on the power play going forward even next year as well, which for me, I think is huge for this team and really, really important for him. But that's it. I think it's just a lot of players too. It's just we've been kind of having a carousel of players, and I think just a little bit of that lack of chemistry of playing together right on the power play showing a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, having to move around players in the power play unit every single game is tough. So you can't really blame them for that. But as we get John saying, I don't think Florida's pick has a chance for Bedard. So if that's the case, Florida has really shot up the standings since I last checked, which to be fair is a long time ago. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Florida's team is way too good to be in the lottery. Let's be honest. We know they had a slow start to the season trying to get some of their new players, like Matthew Tkachuk rolling. But Florida has been on a tear, and they have the capability to really, honestly, I think fully healthy at full performance, they're one of the borderline cup contenders, maybe not one of the favorites, but they have such a good roster. I don't think they're going to stay in the lottery. So Montreal right now just gotta hope Florida keeps losing, or Montreal keeps losing themselves. So it's maybe not 15-20, but yeah, I mean, hopefully it's high enough, and I mean, I would just love to see Bedard in Montreal. But at the same time, Jesse, there are a lot of other good prospects in this draft, especially if Montreal slides down a little bit. Like we got Matvei Michkov, who might not even go in the top 5, people are saying, because of the KHL uncertainty. Of course, Adam Fantilli. And I saw Will from Scouting, a great scouting website, was on the Habs subreddit, and he didn't ask me anything. People were asking lots of things to him, and he basically said, like, the draft at this point, there's a lot of players in the top 10 that you would draft. Even if Montreal gets, like, 6, 7, 8, there are so many good players that Montreal could take that rival a lot of the people in the top 5. So you got to think that even if Montreal doesn't land Bedard, we're probably going to be landing a very, very solid player for this rebuild, no matter what.
I think 2 really good players. Like, we have a chance of, and even of, in some mock drafts where we have gotten that number 1 pick, right? When you just kind of put our odds along with the Panthers, so it'll be definitely interesting to see. My question for you though, Josh, is let's say we, match game like that Michkov is available, because it's debatable, right? Some people have him outside the top 5, but then other people have been seeing how well he's been playing recently in the KHL. And as a rookie, he's putting up some of the best numbers. He's actually putting up better stats than Alex Ovechkin did at a similar age in the KHL. Like, he is playing, like, I think there's like one guy ahead of him in like the last 10 years that at that age has been putting up those numbers. So he has had a little bit of a bounce back, but like, you got to get that, like, okay, with it being maybe you might have to wait like 2 years before he's in your lineup, with your team. Like, would you still draft him even under those circumstances, Josh?
Depending on the pick, yeah. I think that, he would kind of, it's a couple of years of uncertainty in the KHL, and of course with the, Russia itself having some controversy with being harder and harder for players to get out. But if you're Montreal and you have the opportunity at like 5 or 6 to take this guy, I mean, he could legitimately be a star in the NHL. Of course, there are risks associated with it, though. I mean, a lot of teams are going to be like, oh, do we really want to? And Montreal doesn't have a very big Russian presence on their team right now, which might be another factor. Like, I don't know if they're going for Russian guys. Of course, the last guy they traded away, Romanov, they have Dadonov, but he's not going to be there very long. So I think at the right pick, yes, but I think if Montreal's drafting like 2nd or 3rd, I think stray away. I think there are some other players you could definitely take. But if you're like 6, 7 and he's not taken yet, I think you might just have to take the chance. And I'm seeing some people coming in with the Habs draft odds. Confirmed now that Florida is not in the lottery, so that pick will not have any chance at Bedard as of right now. When Montreal's at 7.5%. 7.5 is reasonable. Obviously not as high as we'd like it to be, but it's still there. It's not 0. 7.5 is, you never know. A lot of these teams are probably going to move around, especially with the new lottery rules, especially as Montreal's team with so many injuries continues to slide in the standings, which I'm sure is going to happen as the season goes on, especially if we wear these jerseys anymore. But 7.5 is not that bad. I see Hoopty saying, I want to see Montreal take Thomas Milic in the 3rd round. I'm going to be honest, I don't know anything about Thomas Milic. This upcoming draft is something that I haven't studied a lot, Jesse. Have you looked into it much outside the tops, maybe 5 or 10 prospects as Montreal gets a chance in close, as it's covered up?
I've been I've been ramping up a little bit, as it's getting closer, a little bit more mock drafts kind of coming out. I've been looking at like some projected, at least for the first round, a little bit of the second round, sort of thing. I know a lot of people have been talking about Will Smith, that prospect, that, high probability that, let's say if the season was to end today or the Habs are picking around 5 or 6, I think they're close to around maybe 5, close to even a 4 right now in terms of having the best probability of getting Connor Bedard themselves. But yeah, it's been interesting to look at it and just seeing like the amazing talent. I've definitely been looking into Michkov a little bit more because this is a player that's really starting to interest me. And I got to say that I would be tempted, let's say if we didn't get the first overall pick, which would be amazing. I think the second overall would be an amazing consolation prize. And I'd pick Matvei Michkov with that. Because I think he's going to be a total stud. Come on, you're scoring more than Ovechkin, more than Panarin, all these different players, at the same age in the KHL. And, having him a couple more years in the KHL, I'm cool with that. Let's give him plenty of time to develop. I think by the time he comes back, he's going to be a super skilled guy. And I kind of want to see that in Montreal, like more of the goal scoring. Like I think we have that with Caulfield, but I think that Michkov could really provide that. And then with a little bit more size on top of it, I think is exactly what we need. Now, I think that Slav could turn out to that really big skill and then also physical kind of guy, power forward, super tough to play against. So I could see that just being that, but I want, amazing addition, but I'd really like to see just that high skill, which, if you're getting the first chance, for sure you're picking Connor Bedard. But if I think you want to get that pure skill, your second best option is to go with Michkov.
I like that. I like that take. It's really fun. As someone said, Michkov would not be with the team, not immediately, but again, you're looking for a couple of years in the future. That could be great. And also, Alexis Tremblay says Will Smith has a great slap shot. We'll have to get rid of Chris Weidman if we want to take on Will Smith. Yeah, Will Smith slapping everywhere, all over the ice. I would love that. That's pretty funny. I see some people talking about Jake Allen. Yeah, Allen's all right, but Monty's also quite good. Adam Gage. Milic was the goalie for Team Canada Juniors. That's who Milic is, Jesse. And Habs goalie prospects is something that I've been wondering about recently. Although we do have, if you guys aren't aware, we have Jakub Dobesh, who's currently in the NCAA playing pretty well. I mean, I don't know if you've looked into him much, but I think these guys are right. I think a goalie prospect for Team Canada is something for Team Canada. Montreal's basically Team Canada. For Montreal is it would be a really good idea if we can get a good one at one of our picks. Hey,
it would definitely. If we could kind of get somebody with Montembeault there, it'll be interesting how they will go along with that. And you got to think that. For me, I'd really like for them to get like a prospect. If they're not getting somebody that's already established, which I think there could be a good chance of that, that we don't want to take any other chances. We're really young on a lot of other places on our team. I could get that philosophy from Habs management. Let's just make a trade. Something comes out of left field. We get a 1A from another team. For sure, you're going to have to pay for that. But I mean, arguably the most important position in hockey, right? But yeah, I really think like going forward, that's one of the positions. It's a great comment that like, we need to address. Like, we need to shore up our goaltending a little bit more. Like, Caden Primo's a little bit of unknown. I know some of our Dobesh and some of our other prospects as well have been putting up some good numbers. Obviously, some really good size as well. But, goalies is just one of those things. Unless, we are kind of, having an amazing World Juniors, kind of a first-round sort of draft pick. It's, they kind of don't always have a linear trajectory, right? They're kind of more longer-term projects. So, for myself, I'd really like us to either get somebody established, like I mentioned, or get a prospect, somebody that's a little bit further on their development that says, okay, not maybe next year, but, 2 years from now, I'm going to be your starter and, be real solid in net.
Yeah, I think goalie prospects are really hard to come by too. Even, whoa, that's a chance for the Islanders. I mean, even highly touted ones, like I know the Red Wings picked Sebastian Cossa just a couple of years ago. They traded, or they could have picked Jesper Wallstedt in that spot, and they picked Cossa. And Wallstedt now looks to be like straight up one of the best goalies in the AHL and looks to be a future superstar for the Wild. While Cossa for the Red Wings, picked a couple picks before, is rotting away in the ECHL right now. I've seen him play against my Newfoundland Growlers. It's rough. So you never know with goalie prospects either. So you can almost just take someone out of the rough. And you got Hoopty saying Varlamov on an expiring contract. I mean, you never know. Like, taking on some guys just to get over the hump. I mean, with Montreal, maybe they'll find a young goalie in the future. Maybe they'll be able to trade for one or draft one. But right now, Monty seems to be the guy that they'll probably be rolling with a little bit in the future. I see Kathleen saying, as Canadiens fans from Alberta, where they blacked out today's game, thanks for doing this. You are welcome. We love doing this thing here, as Montreal is really putting on a lot of pressure in this period, Jesse. The shots, the Islanders have come back a bit, but it's now 18-16 for Montreal, and I feel like they've had some great possession time in the offensive zone. And while the Islanders have had a few chances, I feel like Montreal overall has really impressed me this period.
It is, and it's been their effort, and I think that's kind of coming from that first line, is they're really playing with a lot of pizzazz tonight, and I think they're kind of going to the front of the net. That's what I like, is they're trying to direct, as you saw just recently, just having that scramble out in front. It's like that's where you score the goals, and when you're playing a hard nose kind of type of hockey, right, that's the type of opportunities that you get. It's around the front of the net. It's these loose pucks, you need to go hard to it, so it's I'm really happy to see, because I think that's the type of hockey you want to be playing.
Yeah, for sure. I see Urban Youth has some great takes here. Carey Price was wildly overrated. Carey Price had more than one good season, Urban. I mean, he had the Hart Trophy and Vezina Trophy in the same year, but every single year in the playoffs, when it came down to it, he was the best goalie on the planet when Montreal was making playoff runs almost every single time. So we'll let the other commenters like John here talk you out of that opinion. But hey, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I disagree, but maybe some people might agree with it, especially non-Montreal fans. And we got Dylan saying Price was one of the best before his knee injury, even after we rode him to a cup final. Exactly. Alexia asks, any of the injured players back in the lineup today? Monahan, Edmondson. No, Drouin is back today. He's in the lineup, but Monahan and Edmondson, still a few question marks, though they have been skating by themselves in the mornings, right? They have been okay. They're coming back slowly. Caden Gooley is also skating. And we got a question, what happened to Matheson from Urban Youth? Matheson's interesting, because in theory, I know that contract when he signed it originally with, I think, Florida, it was kind of seen as a weird contract. And when Pittsburgh took him on, it was like, why? And then Montreal traded Petrie for him, who wanted to be out anyway, which I think looks like a fine trade. But Matheson is just, Jesse, he's been a bit disappointing this year for me. He's smooth. His skating is smooth. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes, for sure. But I feel like I was hoping for a bit more offensive upside with this guy.
Yeah, he's a little bit inconsistent. He can definitely show that he can skate. And, we've seen him kind of look good from the point, at some points tonight. Obviously not scoring, but, getting some good opportunities. It is there. I would say just the biggest thing for him right now is just night in, night out, just kind of being a little more steady with his performances.
Yeah, and I think some people said, he was out of the game. But as I saw that chat, I mean, he was on the ice skating back. So he was out for a minute. I apologize. I think that's what you were referring to. But no, he's back out there. I think he's okay. He might have taken a hit or something. There's another nice scramble in front of the net. Montreal fighting for the puck, using their grittiness to their advantage in this game. They're winning a lot of puck battles. The Islanders are, as Paul Bissonnette often likes to say, one of the most boring teams, or the most boring team in hockey. Not allowed to score more than 2 goals in a game, and boy, this game's kind of living up to that. The Islanders really, really play slow, hey? Montreal is trying to chip away, grind away, but without the offensive firepower, it feels like, this game is sort of slowed down to a snail's pace. A few breaks here and there, but it's been a lot of, just fundamental hockey, right?
Yeah, that's it. They've kind of felt each other out in that first period, and now they're, kind of getting a feel for how the other team is playing. But, I think they're playing the right type of way, right? They need to be patient. They've had a great effort tonight. They're not being tremendously outshot. In fact, they're leading in the shot total, I think a pretty respectable amount so far. So I think, they need to be patient here. I think, both teams are trying to play conservative and not make any mistakes and, get the other team on a rush,
Yeah.
But, because I think that's how these teams operate. But, no, I think, Harvey Pinard kind of back out of there, cycling the puck once again. I think it's what we need to do, right? We need to get in those corners and, win those battles, right? Because more often than not, the team that, wins the majority of the puck battles ends up winning the game, So we just gotta keep this up.
Very true. The Islanders have been hitting Montreal hard too. Montreal's been doing it a bit back to them, but winning the puck battles, just playing your own game, doing what you can. It's scrapping for these goals is what you need to do with the loss of the talent that you have right now. A lot of these guys just hurt or just not playing for various reasons. You need to do what you can with these AHL guys, this personnel, to put goals up on the board. We got a few more comments here. Oh boy, we got number back, the Croteau in 14 games, 2.66 GAA with a 903 save percentage. Just turned 19, so maybe he'll do okay. Last game stopped on 25. Yeah, he looks like he could be quite good. And again, 19 for a goalie, like, very good stats. The thing with goalies is very strange. Like, at the lower levels, they often dominate. Like, it's rare that you see an NHL goalie who was, like, average at a lower level, right? They almost always, the ones that turn into good NHL players have really, really high stats. So definitely someone to keep an eye on as we move forward. A lot of teams are retaining money in early transactions. Seems to indicate that money is tight this year. I think the Habs can take advantage of that and eat some bad contracts for picks. I think it's possible. The problem is they have so many bad contracts as is that there need to be some moves made before that. I mean, just look, Montreal, for a team with, such a lack of talent on it right now, they are really shockingly close to the salary cap. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Montreal could do that, but I think they need to focus on getting some assets for their bad pieces first in Hoffman, Dadonov, and the like.
Yeah, I can't wait for the trade deadline to come around. I don't know about you, Josh, but it's just, no disrespect or anything like that. It's more just kind of wanting to see like a fresh face on the organization and just switch it up, even though I know Hoffman and Dadonov haven't been here the longest. But I think maybe just a fresh start for Drouin and for those other two players I just mentioned, like this team would look a lot different. And as it's shown, once we kind of come back from injury, it's like we got some younger guys to fill those spots. And I think that, Harvey Pinard, and maybe Richard, maybe getting a chance on the fourth line next year. Like, these are the type of players, possibly Ylönen, like these are the players that we're going to see filling these guys' spot next year. And I'm definitely here for it, because I think you get those really skilled guys and then replacing back, Hoffman and Dadonov and Drouin with players like HP and Richard that are really playing with a lot of effort. It's like this team's going to look a lot different. So I'm really excited for the trade deadline to see the team after that, see all the young bloods. But most importantly, like for next year, like how this team's going to look. I think we're going to need to do a video on that soon, Josh, just projecting next year's lineup. And you got to figure there's going to be a couple little trades in there as well, as because, with like a lot of our young guys on contracts, getting a good deal on Jordan Harris, it does free you up, even though we do have a couple big contracts, one kind of coming up for Coffee soon. It's like, you got to feel like they're mentioning, with their comment earlier, it's like, we do have some space though. And we could, add, like one or two possibly really skilled players as free agents over the summer as well. And I think that Kent Hughes is going to be really prudent about the moves that we're making there. And I think that the team, with what we already have, the young guys kind of coming up, the prospects that we're going to be getting in the draft, then any sort of trades like that, like this team could look really good next year.
Yeah, I think they could, and especially the year after, as we're cutting back to the Habs. Jordan Harris.
More important.
Well, yeah, yeah, for sure. I think Jordan Harris is going in for holding. I think that's what the call was. We'll see a replay of that right now. Yeah, I can see that. Seems just to get his arm up there as he holds the Islanders player. But okay, Montreal's going to go in the penalty kill. It was one of their strengths early in the season, but not so much recently. They had some really, really bad stretches. And we see way less execution mistakes for the Habs in this game. Helps our goalie a lot. I think that's a very good point. There haven't been a ton of mistakes from Montreal so far. Knock on wood again. We got Noah asking, do you think Montreal can pull this win off? I don't see why not. The Islanders are not a high-scoring team, and if Montreal can just get one or two lucky bounces, I think this game is Montreal's for the taking, especially if Montembeault continues to be solid in net. Armia would have to trade it or go to waivers. No longer in Montreal. We get thank God for LTIR. Ullinen would have to clear waivers if he doesn't make the team next year. We need to make room or trade him. Yeah, there's so many like moving pieces, and as Urban Youth points out, Jesse's right. The team's going to look a lot different very soon, like way different with the amount of roster overhaul they'll need to do before they become a playoff contender, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to come really.
The Islanders score. Anders Lee, with 3 seconds left in the second period, puts the puck in on the power play. Oh, that's such a demoralizing goal. As Brandon says, tough goal, extremely tough goal. That is, let's see a replay of that. I mean, I think Horvat must have got an assist on it. They're showing him. I was looking away. I thought the period was about over. we're going to see the play here as the Islanders kind of just fake a shot from Dobson, who has been playing really well this game. Just kind of thrown in front by Horvat. I don't really know what happens, and Anders Lee looks to take credit. I don't really know. Horvat throws it at the net from below the goal line. I think that's just going to be Horvat's goal. I don't think that's Anders Lee. I think it literally just hits Montembeault and gets past him. I really don't know. But that is extremely unlucky from an impossible angle. I still can't even tell how it went in. It looked like it went through Montembeault with just 4.2 left in the period. Montreal is going to go into the third down 2-1. I mean, Jesse, I mean, as a player, that's gotta hurt, especially as Montembeault, who's had such a solid period, have a goal like that go in. That sucks as we head into the second intermission.
It does, and it's kind of something that's happened a little bit this year. It's kind of letting in those late goals, right? It's more of kind of an experience sort of concentration thing as you kind of mature as an NHL player. I'm sure, kind of applies in all sports. You kind of just learn to kind of, play to that kind of final whistle. But, Jordan Harris, a little bit of inexperience with the penalty, as we've been kind of seeing the whole year. But it's just part of the learning curve, right? You're going to end up in the penalty box. It's a quick league. It's your first time kind of in it this year. So it's going to happen. Unfortunately, that second goal, that late goal, is kind of a result of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what can you do, right? He's a young guy in Jordan Harris, so still figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever. You live with it. You live with some mistakes. As we were saying, Montreal not making a ton of mistakes. Harris takes an ill-advised penalty late in the period as it leads to a goal. But we're here in the second intermission now. Montreal's down 2-1. That's fine. It's a position they've been in a lot this season, and it's only one goal. Montreal definitely has the potential to get a goal in the third period, so looking forward to seeing how they come out in the third to counteract that rough end of the second. John says it feels like every game they get scored on early in the first and or late in the second. I swear that's been a trend this entire year, especially with Jake Allen and Ned, as some of you have been talking about earlier. Allen gives up the first goal so many times. Montreal, of course, has given up the first goal in 34 of their 52 games. Not a great trend for a team long term, but I mean, with this roster, it's about all you can do. Alexis asks, how's Bo Horvat looking with his new team? I think that was sent just before he scored the goal, or maybe just after, but pretty good. I mean, Horvat, he's had some weird situations go on in Vancouver, but I think he'll end up being a very solid Islander. What do you say, Jesse? I mean, I think it's a good situation for him, a team where the team culture is a big thing, but it's really more of a playoff contender than, well, I mean, maybe not. They're technically below 500, but I feel like the culture there is maybe better suited to Horvat than Vancouver was.
Yeah, he's had a good start so far. He scored the other night against his former team, actually. Yeah. Anthony Beauvillier also scoring in that game as well. I think that, definitely a good addition. Some people kind of question if maybe it's for a little bit too long and maybe for too much money. I mean, that's to be determined, right? It's these long-term contracts in terms of like younger players like Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, I'm really in favor of them, right? But once we start kind of giving these, longer term deals to players that are already experienced NHLers, that's when you sometimes run in that risk factor. Is that production kind of going to go down in that 4 to 8 year sort of period? What do you think about that deal that he just signed recently, Josh?
I think it's a long deal, and as Lou Lamoriello says, it's too much money for too long. But I think Lou is just old school. He doesn't like any of these long contracts, but that's what you need to do to keep a guy like Horvat around. I've seen a lot of Canucks fans saying that they're glad they're not the ones that had to sign him to that money. But I think the Islanders, if you're the Islanders, I might be a bit worried. Like, if you're an Islanders fan, just because of how many old players, I mean, Horvat's not old, but aging, they are going to have like 4 or 5 players in their late 30s, all being owed a ton of money in just a few years. But there's always a way to get out of bad contracts, so I'm sure the Islanders will find a way, but I think it's a bit much for Horvat, considering what else New York has on the roster. If in a vacuum, I don't think it's crazy ridiculous, though again, Horvat really only had 1 or maybe 2 good seasons that might warrant that kind of money. I think I would have been more comfortable around the $7 million per year range as opposed to the 8.5 he signed for, but I don't think it's too bad. I think at the end of the day, the Islanders can maybe bite the bullet. I see Brendan asked, you guys always stream? I watch the videos every day but haven't seen it. No, Brendan, this is actually our first stream. If you're still watching here, this is our first time trying this. Seems to be going pretty well. I think you guys are engaging with it pretty well. The game's going well. We haven't had too many issues. I can see it's been lagging a little bit every now and then, but other than that, I think we're doing well. So if you enjoy, stick around, like the stream, guys. We'd love if you guys could leave a like on that stream right now if you can, if you haven't already. Like. We're at 28 likes on the stream. Come on. I mean, we can get 28 likes up, right? We've had 401 unique viewers. Get that 28 likes up. If you're watching and you haven't liked it, just do it right now. I want to see that hit 40 or 50 before this is over, if it's possible. Urban is saying, how embarrassing is the Aho KK situation? Carolina signed him for way too much. He says, does anyone miss KK? I mean, you know, Kotkaniemi is someone interesting. He's, I don't know. I think Carolina took a risk on him, but I will say he has been like maybe their best defensive, well, not their best defensive, but one of their best defensive forwards this season. So I got no ill will towards Kotkaniemi. He didn't work out in Montreal. Of course, the Aho situation sucked. But, you know, Carolina is doing what they want. I feel like the fans are okay with Kotkaniemi because of the defense he brings. You know, it's pretty cool. I don't really miss Kotkaniemi, but, you know, everyone else is going to have their own opinion. You see Tropical Habs coming in here. Hi, go Habs, go. Keep on grinding. Thank you, Tropical Habs. We've seen plenty of your videos. I love having this Habs YouTube community grow and grow and grow. I feel like we have so many good content creators, so thank you very much for stopping by, guys. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with him. I believe from Quebec, so some more like, you know, French leaning Habs stuff. Yeah, go check out his channel. He's quite a good YouTuber and at his own right. Tommy says that Urban at that price. Yeah, at Kotkaniemi's price, I don't miss him much at all. Alexis asks, I think Caulfield's also 8 for 8. Jesse, we've talked about this a bit. Do you think we can get Caulfield at 8 for 8 million, or do you think he'll go for a bit more or less? I think we settled at around that price mark, right?
Yeah, you know, you got to feel that he will. We were comparing, you know, Matthew Boldy and then some other recent, you know, signings, and you got to feel that he might, you know, he has every reason to get $8 million a year, anywhere from 7.5 to 8. But we were also mentioning, you know, it's like we need to look at teams around the league that are building Stanley Cup contenders year in, year out, because that's what we really want, right? With this organization, is, you know, that's the way we're building it. It's not just to be good for 1 year, but it's just to be consistently a good hockey team. And I don't know about you, Josh, but like Cole Caulfield comes to me like as the type of guy that might take a good deal to help out the team. I think that he likes Montreal. I think he loves playing with Suzuki. I think he loves the organization. I think he loves hockey. Like, if there's anybody that's going to give you a team-friendly deal, I think that it's possible that Cole Caulfield does that. And I think that doing little steps like this, you know, it just, if we want to win a Stanley Cup, if that's what we're about, those are the sacrifices that need to be made. Like, it's been shown in a lot of different examples in lots of different sports. The teams that are willing, different star players, to take a little bit of a cut so that you can also bolster other positions. I mean, that's what it takes to win. Like, we know that the salary cap is going up. I'm not going to be upset, you know, with Caulfield getting a big contract, because I think he deserves it. But if ever we could just kind of finesse it in a way that, you know, we're kind of taking some team-friendly deals for the greater good. Yeah. Oh, man, I'd just be so happy about that.
Yeah, me too. I see some different numbers throwing around here. Some Urban saying we don't want 8x8. Hoopty saying 7.7 over 6 years would be nice. I feel like if you're Montreal, you want to lock him up for more than 6 years. But if it comes down to it, maybe you take it. It's going to be so interesting, and it's going to be something, especially with the shoulder injury, a big topic this offseason. But they're very committed to getting a deal done. Caulfield loves it in Montreal, loves Suzuki, loves his teammates. So I think we'll end up being happy with the deal no matter what. We'll find some rationale to like it. Dylan says, it's been a lot of fun. Would love to see you guys do this a lot more. Thank you very much. Brendan's sharing the same sentiment. You guys are doing great. Thank you so much. We like to record these videos. We haven't tried a live stream literally ever. So, but I think it's going pretty great. You guys are loving it, and you guys did like the stream. Since I asked, we got 9 more likes. We're up to 37. Whoever's new coming in here, we'd love to make that hit 50 before the stream is over. I know you guys can help us with that. I see Urban saying, can we compare Hudson to Makar? I think we can compare him to Makar, though it's really unfair to compare a Norris winner and a probable future Hart Trophy winner to Lane Hudson, a guy who has just played in the NCAA. Cale Makar is an otherworldly talent, but the skill sets are very similar, and I don't see why Lane Hudson can't have a similar career path to Makar and end up being a premier offensive defenseman in the NHL. Let's see, I miss Sergachev more than KK. Me too. Every time I watch a Lightning game, I get reminded of that trade. Urban says your channel's blown up. Yeah, it really has. Like, we're almost at 4,000 subscribers. So again, you guys, whoever's here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that now as well. I'm asking for likes, but subscriptions are the big thing, right? We want you guys coming back. I know a lot of you guys are already subscribed, probably most of you, but if you're not, hit it now, because we're going to be doing a lot more of these in the future. We have daily Habs videos, news, game recaps, everything. So you don't want to miss any of it. Make sure you hit that button. We're going to go down here. We give him the same deal as Suzuki. That would be cool, having a similar deal with those two guys locked up long term. Will Tatar finally show up this playoffs? Jesse, what do you think about Thomas Tatar? Was he one of your favorites when he was in Montreal? Of course, a fellow Slovakian of Juraj Slafkovsky. And yeah, I mean, Tatar with the Devils has looked pretty good, and that team could go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I really liked him, with his time with Gallagher and everything else on that first line when we had him, right? And they had some amazing advanced statistics. Like, they were kind of like one of the best defensive first lines in the league, yeah. and even just overall, right? Because they were so good defensively, and then they were still putting in goals. Like, so happy to see Tatar doing well with his new team as well. He always had that scoring touch. I think it just, we were kind of going another way as an organization. But I mean, he was a great player. I really, really enjoyed watching him in his time here in Montreal.
Yeah, TT was underrated, big fan. I mean, he was like one of our best point getters when he was here the whole time. I also missed a chat. Brendan saying, I'm from Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland Pride. That's right. Love the Newfies. It's so cool. Like, the amount of Newfoundland Habs fans too. Newfoundland's weird because, of course, we're not really near. Like, Montreal's technically the closest team, I think, but I know people who are fans of every team. My grandfather was a Rangers fan, but now is a Leafs fan because he lives in Toronto, and of course I'm a Habs fan. One of my buddies is a Senators fan, the other's a Bruins fan, and we got some Leafs fans all over the place, but it seems like Leafs, Habs, and Bruins, with a little bit of Senators and Red Wings, seem to be the most common around here. Jesse, I assume pretty much everyone from around Gatineau was a Habs fan, no? Or were there some traders that liked the Senators?
Well, myself being a Franco, anyway, I'm from Quebec, but a lot of my family's Franco-Ontarian. Oh. So you do get a lot of the Sens fans. A lot of the Franco-Ontarians are the Sens fans. But myself, yeah, just kind of growing up, even though I kind of grew up in the Ottawa-Gatineau region, just, my Habs were always my favorite team, just because that was the first game that I went to. And then also just my Quebecois side, just having a lot of family from around the Montreal area, and just, living there as well and everything else like that. It's always, it's a nice rivalry. There's definitely a lot of Canadiens fans. My mom kind of starting off that tradition as well. Huge Habs fan as well. Definitely a proud Quebecois woman, but definitely a couple of Sens fans as well in the family as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's people everywhere. Urban saying Noof is 50% Habs, 30% Leafs, 20% Boston. I mean, there's just so many of everything, right? Like, that's one thing with professional sports here, is that you're not really tied down geographically to anything. I mean, of course, Newfoundlanders support their home team. Of course, I live in St. John's, the capital, where we've had lots of different junior hockey teams. We had the St. John's Fog Devils that were in the QMJHL at the time. Jake Allen played for the Fog Devils. Fun fact for those of you out there, the Fog Devils were only here for like 2 years in the Q, and Jake Allen played here on the Fog Devils, so that's pretty cool. And then we had AHL, of course, we had the Jets affiliate, the St. John's Ice Caps, and then the Jets got the Manitoba Moose back, so we switched to Montreal's affiliate for a couple of years before the Laval Rocket. Nice. Yeah, before the Laval Rocket came in. There were lots of Habs prospects playing there, but then there was nothing for a while. There have been some disputes, but now it's the Newfoundland Growlers, the ECHL affiliate of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, you see some very low-tier Leafs prospects around, and some Newfoundland players on it, but when it comes to professional sports, not only hockey, like basketball, I mean, I'm a fan of the San Antonio Spurs. I have a lot of friends that are Raptors fans. Of course, most of that happened after they got good. I mean, I remember the crappy Raptors in the mid-2000s. But I'm a Spurs fan. I got a friend that's a Celtics fan, a bunch of Raptors fans, a Thunder fan. There's people all over the place. And, of course, Raptors Digest, the biggest channel in the Digest media umbrella. Ben Rogers running a great channel over there. So if you guys like the Raptors or you like the Blue Jays, there's Blue Jays Digest as well, which my brother Nick runs with his co-host Peter Frionis. Those two guys run that channel to perfection. So there's a lot of stuff within Digest media. If you're looking for other sports, feel free to check those out. Jesse, we got some other comments here. Remember back when the Kostitsyn brothers played for the Habs? I remember them. I loved Andre and Sergei.
Yeah.
I mean, which one did you like better, Andre or Sergei? I was a Sergei guy. What about you?
Yeah, it started off as an Andre, but then it went to Sergey once he was around. But yeah, no, they were really exciting. They were really exciting. Really enjoyed the time. All the skill in the world. You kind of wish that they could have gotten a little bit more. I was definitely kind of sad to see them go. It felt like they definitely had a lot more in the tank than what we had a chance to see. But definitely enjoyed watching them for many years.
Yeah, me too. We got Tommy Vezina. I'm a Habs fan since '84. Fortunate enough to see him win 2 cups. Tommy, thank you so much. I wasn't alive for that first cup. I was born in '97, but so I haven't seen a Habs cup in my lifetime. But man, Jesse, you were right. I think you saw the '93 Cup win. Unfortunately, I didn't. But what do you think? It's Tommy from 1984. I mean, being able to see 2 cups. Thank you so much for stopping in, Tommy. I mean, it's so awesome to see like Habs fans of all ages tuning into our show, eh?
It is, and it's nice to hear from them as well because it's nice to remember the history
Yeah.
of this team, right? Because we're not so far removed, from some amazing Stanley Cup wins and everything else, and continued success over many years. And I know that the league has kind of changed over the years and gotten bigger, but even when it would start to get bigger and be a pretty competitive league, we were still taking home Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. And I mean, that's what just kind of adds to this team, right? Because that tradition is still here, that never give up attitude. And I think that that's what always kind of made me want to be a Habs fan, is because it was always like a type of magic about this team, right, Josh? That it's like
Yeah.
they're down late, like even
Yeah.
in the game today, being down 2-1, like neither of us doubts their ability, even with a bunch of AHL guys on the roster, to come back and tie this up, because this team has a culture of doing this. I would say more than anybody else, they have a storied, I would say, magical history of being able to tie games and never give up and come from behind and win big games and win Stanley Cups. And I think that that's what makes this team so much fun to follow
Yeah.
and to cover and to be a fan of, so great for hearing from you today, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not superstitious, but Montreal has a kind of magic around the team, especially when they're playing in the Bell Center in important games. There's this energy that gets fed into the team,
Yeah.
and it's like they summon the spirits of players past, and it's a crazy thing to be a fan of this team because stuff like that always seems to happen, even in seasons like this. So it's always fun to watch Montreal. I said, what's your feeling about Coach Martin St. Louis' first year? First full year, I'm pretty happy. I think he's got some good production out of the young guys, and the guys in the locker room seem to love him, so I'm pretty cool with him. What do you think, Jesse?
Oh, I've been more than happy. I think he's the absolute perfect fit. And the fact that they found the perfect fit for the Montreal Canadiens with somebody who didn't have any prior NHL coaching experience, again, just has to make you feel good about this team, about Gordon and Kent Hughes' decision-making abilities on very important decisions. So, yeah, I know that we just recently marked that first year since he's been back. I think the proof's in the pudding, right? He's helped make Caulfield a better player. He's helped make Doc a better player. Like, when you have a young team, I would say that the most important role of your coach is to make your young, good players better. And that's exactly what he's done. And just in terms of personality and just his approach to the game and just overall culture, how he treats the players, with respect, positivity, communication. I don't know. It's just a great guy to have around, eh, Josh?
He is, and his vision for the game, like Tommy points out, like Nick Suzuki pointed out, the things he sees, the way he sees the game of hockey, it was so evident when he was a player, but as a coach too, it seems to be coming through. So, like you said, perfect guy for these young guys, personable, not that old, like sort of a younger coach when it comes to NHL coaches, and I think the guys really have a ton of respect for him. I see Urban asking, do I follow Terry Ryan? Shorzy, I don't really follow him too much, but I know Terry opened up, or at least revamped TJ's pub downtown, which is pretty cool now. I mean, they got that whole rooftop bar. It's one of the spots to be if you want to go downtown to George Street. For those of you who know what George Street is in Newfoundland, the bar with the street with the highest density of bars in all of North America. It's the party place if you're ever in St. John's. Head into TJ's, maybe you'll see Terry Ryan, who knows, ex-Hab, right? Habs legend, totally not one of the biggest draft busts of all time for Montreal, but yeah, I mean he's been a pretty prominent figure in the city for a while. We got Brendan Bishop and Hoopty saying they're both born in '97. We'll see a cup someday. Maybe it'll be in the '30s. That's true. Urban says the '93 was objectively one of the greatest runs in the history of sports. I mean, as Montreal fans, it was just such a great feeling, right? Like that '90s team. I mean, it wasn't really expected to win a cup, but they really did a good job. We also got MSL's also handsome, hot damn, yeah, I mean, Quadzilla. I mean, that guy's legs are tree trunks. I mean, I don't think anyone can compare. Do you think he intimidates people with those legs, like just like look at me. I could throw you out a window. Like he's freaking like. Do you think he uses his physical dominance to intimidate some of the Habs players?
It's possible. It's possible. Like he's an intense dude, but I think that's important too, right? You know, I think the quads they command respect and attention, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. It is for sure. Yeah, so as we finally get the puck drop for the third period, I feel like that intermission lasted 40 minutes, but we're back. We're back. Yeah, for those of you watching, we got 35 viewers, 39 likes. I'm sure someone out there hasn't liked the stream yet. So if that's you, hit that button. Also hit subscribe. And I might as well just mention too, like, as the period goes on, of course, we lose some viewers who are going back to watch the game, but for those of you that are still here, I don't know if a lot of you know about this, but we also have channel membership. I hate to like bring this up, but it's something we want to talk about as well. If you guys want to support us, sort of outside just watching the videos, we have different tiers of channel membership where you get some cool emotes that I'm going to put in the chat. We got some. Let's see, ad reaction. Do I have them here? Yeah, we got Kirby Doc, we got Crying Brad Marchand, we got Slavzilla and Nick Suzuki, Anna Suzuki. So if you guys want access to those, we have different tiers of channel membership, and you'll get full access to those, and you'd help support us. Of course, YouTube ad revenue fluctuates a bit. You know, we're not relying on you guys for any of that. And please, if you don't want to, do not. Do not do it if you don't want to. But it's just an option for those of you guys who really enjoy the show, and it would be really appreciated. And I see here Hoopty saying, when I hear intimidation and Habs, I think of Georges Larac, but now it's Jack-Eye. It sure is now Jack-Eye. Georges Larac, though, he is... Jesse, boy, has he ever made his presence known in the Habs media sphere recently with these crazy takes like trading Slavkovsky? Do you think that's just him trying to relive his Habs glory days or what?
I don't know what some of these supposed Habs insiders and former players are kind of saying sometimes, you know, just absolute nonsense. You know, you think a former player would have a little bit more respect for Slavkovsky, you know, like no disrespect to Larac, but I think he was definitely way off. Like we've seen so many examples, right, of NHL players where it takes them a minute to develop. I think Kirby Doc's a great example. Mm-hmm. Like, was he a bust because, you know, his first couple years weren't the greatest? No, like we're lucky to have him on this team now. And I think you could argue that it'll be the same with Slavkovsky and possibly even to a higher degree. I think that Slavkovsky could even have a higher ceiling than Doc by the time this is all said and done. So yeah. I think it's just about being patient. A little bit unfortunate that, you know, maybe a player who you would expect to understand that a little bit more than maybe some other people, but, you know, we're talking about a skilled player, and let's face it, George Larac was never that.
No, never that, but he managed to have a decently long career as an enforcer when that was a lot more common, so fair enough. I mean, the guy managed to have a decent career in the NHL, but now, yeah, I think he's just trying to, I don't know, keep his name out there in the sphere, and boy, is it ever working. Urban's asking, who's your fave Hab fourth liner of all time? That's a good question. You know, when I was younger, I didn't really pay too much. I wasn't like a super fan, like looking at every player on all the bottom lines. Of course, I did a little bit in the NHL games. Like one guy that came to mind was like Chris Higgins. I mean, he wasn't always a full fourth line guy, but he definitely wasn't a top guy. But he ended up having a solid career. I always liked Radek Bonk, who was really not known for Montreal, but had a few seasons there. But honestly, my answer is Jake Evans. It's a bit of a cop-out, I suppose, but it's Jake Evans. He is my favorite fourth liner on the Habs right now, even though he doesn't really play like a typical fourth liner. He is that guy for me. I love Jake Evans every game he plays, so that's my answer. Jesse, do you have an answer for that, or is it just kind of like a big toss-up between a lot of guys?
It's a great point. You know, I definitely would need to reflect on it a little bit more. Yeah, but definitely Price, you know, from those years definitely kind of, you know, definitely stands out. You know, but other than that, you know, definitely Jake Evans. You know, there was a couple guys that you knew that they would be good as well, you know, over time, and definitely, you know, were big parts of the organization. That kind of worked their way up the rank, you know. Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, definitely some good years with Price and Subban, you know, definitely standing out.
We're talking about fourth liners here, Jesse. I don't think Subban and Price.
I thought we were talking about the old guys from back in the day there. No, and fourth lines now or from in the
Well,
past?
anytime favorite ever, and Urban actually makes a good point. Bonk and Higgins were not fourth liners; they were just names that I kind of thought of. You're right.
Yeah, the Higgins threw me off there.
Higgins
was
was
up the
more of a middle.
lineup.
He was more of a middle guy who ended up. But when he first came up, he was more of a fourth line. I guess he wasn't a career fourth line guy at all. The guys I named really weren't fourth line at all. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, Thomas Sandstrom was interesting too. Was it Kyle Chipchura? He was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, fourth liners. I don't really. Mine's Jake Evans. And honestly, once you get past like the last couple seasons, I don't think I could really name fourth line guys. I can just name like decent guys from old teams. So anyway, what about you, Jesse? Fourth line.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think Jake Evans with that effort, you always had a feeling that he'd be good, definitely, and it's hopefully maybe he'll get a chance to move up, but with like a lot of the young guys on the team right now, who quite knows, but yeah, no, definitely, just for me, just one of those players that just always kind of had that effort. He definitely stands out.
Yeah, we got some interesting ones. Tommy saying Steve Benjamin. That's one of the guys I was forgetting. Steve Benjamin wore number 22 for those Habs teams. And I think he was a line mate for Chris Higgins back in about 06 when Higgins really wasn't like a top player for Montreal yet. I mean, maybe not top, but I think they played together. But I loved Steve Benjamin, that bald head, number 22. Matt D'Agostini is another bit of a deep cut there. Dale Weiss, fourth liner. Dale Weiss was more of like, I guess, a third liner, but played a bit on the fourth, of course. Big fan favorite, Dutch Gretzky. And we got Paul DiPietro, Mark Streit, and Nate Thompson. Nate Thompson, for sure, what a grinder. He was on so many different teams. Mark Streit, I feel like, is tough to say because he was actually a good defenseman for Montreal. I mean, one of the first real good Swiss players in the NHL. Now, of course, we got Roman Josi and Kevin Fiala. Jesse, what about like someone like Nate Thompson, Paul DiPietro, Dale Weiss, Matt D'Agostini? Any of those names stand out? We got it! Oh, was that Justin? Wait, who was that? Is that Barron?
It is Barron. Yes, it is. With the wrister, 2-2.
I was looking at the chat, and then we got, oh my goodness, Justin Barron, Noah Dobson looking down. The Habs tie it up. Let's watch a replay of this goal. Oh, about time. Mike Hoffman grabbing on the zone entry. Barron trailing the play. Oh, what a shot. Justin Barron
calling for it.
Yeah,
he's in the slot. Damn,
showing that offensive upside, puts it right past the blocker of Semyon Varlamov. What a shot. We've seen him shoot that shot as the trailer on rushes before. Man, that's just a beautiful snipe. Brings the Habs back into this game 2-2. Oh man, how awesome is this to see Justin Barron get a goal here for Montreal.
And what I like is that he was taking all the space that the defense was giving him. Like, he really didn't rush it. He got a nice space in a pass, calling for it, great awareness. But then, really taking, all the real estate he could to get the best possible shot. And like you said, he roofed it. He popped the bottle there, eh? What a shot. Honestly, that's amazing to see because for me, that's the type of player, if you get his confidence up, Justin Barron, like the sky's the limit for this guy. Like maybe that's somebody that we should consider having on our power play, in my opinion, in the very near future if he continues this up.
As we get another great rush, Matheson with a great defensive play, and Rem Pitlick just for some reason doesn't shoot it. He seemed to be like, he just couldn't decide what he wanted to do, but regardless, Montreal is playing with a lot of pace right now. We got Riv saying, I thoroughly enjoyed this, gotta go. I'll definitely be here for the next one. Thanks again, lads. Go Habs go from Wyoming. First Habs fan I've ever seen from Wyoming. Riv, if you're still here, if you haven't gone yet, thank you so much. Oh man, that awesome to hear Habs fans from everywhere, right? Wyoming, amazing. You see goal Barron, everyone talking about Barron. What a shot, definitely was. All tied up. Montreal's up 22 shots to 20. And Jesse, if you're the New York Islanders right now, and you're tied up with the Montreal Canadiens, and you just traded for Bo Horvat, you want to push for a playoff spot, you've got to be starting to get a bit nervous, right, at how this game is going?
It is. You can see that the Habs have the momentum right now. They're really controlling the puck, and that's it. It has to be a little bit tough on the Islanders right now. We kind of felt like this was going to happen, though, right?
Yep.
Because when you play that tough, brand of hockey, is you wear teams out over the course of the game. Even if you're in a tight one, you don't have to worry because as we're getting another chance to scramble
that
out
was
in front,
so close.
That's it. It's like, it's like you got to feel like that's what I just love about this brand of hockey that we're playing is it's like you never know. What is
that? Oh, no. What is happening?
That's Monty.
Oh.
Yes, Monty. He's been making some big saves tonight, though. He's been making some, even though it's been close in terms of shots, he's been making some really nice saves. And isn't Monty looking like super composed in net though? Like no extra movements. He's reminiscent of dare I say Price right now. Just extra movements whatsoever. I'm saying it. You heard it here first on Habs Digest. No, but all jokes aside, he is playing great so far. But just being calm in net, right? Like you could see, like he waited out the player. Players like, are you gonna go down? Are you gonna go down? No, I'm standing my position all the way through. I'm gonna make this save, and then I'm gonna kick it out my leg by the post to make another one. Some great positioning. He was there. He was ready for it anyway. If he would have had a chance at that rebound and close, so. I'm really impressed with Montembeault so far. What are you thinking, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great game. He's had a great season. I think efficiency is a good word. He's been in his position way more often than not, really, really using his movements well. I think, like we sort of said in yesterday's video, I think him as a future 1B goaltender at the very least could be very good. I mean, Montembeault is really showing that he's fighting for that spot for Montreal. I see Urban saying Monty's a backup at best, had a good year. I think we still have a lot of things to see with him because he's still pretty young. I think he's, 26, 27, and goalies, they hit their peak a little bit just after that, after players typically hit their peak. So I think Montembeault, for the defense that he has in front of him, he's been doing a really good job. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Brendan says, I'd be interested to take a deep dive into the evolution of Montembeault. His mechanics have changed considerably. He has the posture of a starting NHL goaltender now. He definitely exudes a lot more confidence, doesn't he, this season compared to last year?
It's so true. It's a night and day difference. Goaltending is one of my favorite positions in hockey. It's one of the things that I study the most, that I'm interested in. And I wasn't a huge fan last year, at all. And it's because, he was shaky in his movements, right? You could tell, just a little bit of confidence, but also some of the mechanics.
Yeah.
As you were mentioning, there was a little bit too many extra movements, where if you give anything, those extra movements, when you're now shifting, you best believe that NHL shooter is going to take that advantage of that to place that shot from where you just moved from, right? That you're creating these opportunities. So I think he plays a really interesting style where he is a butterfly, but we're seeing, a little bit of that hybrid as well, where he can really stand his own ground, being a big body as well, covering up a big part of the net. I mean, just really sound positioning, really square to the shooter, making some amazing saves right there.
Yeah, for sure. As we get Hoffman with a lot of speed coming into the offensive zone, he looks like he has a bit of energy, a little bit of pep in his step. That's different.
Definitely.
Well, I mean,
the right play, looking. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not different on offense for him. It's the only time we don't see that is on defense. Even though the advanced stats show that he's a good defensive player, I don't get that. Maybe it's just he's lucky with his line mates. But we get some bit of offense here. The Habs are pushing in the offensive zone. I mean, it feels like the momentum has been swinging back and forth this whole game. Who was that Pitlick or Jack-Eye? That was Jack-Eye stepping up. The helmet almost got knocked off there. I was going to say, it's definitely not Pitlick. What am I? He's not going to do that. But, oh man, this is awesome, eh? Jonathan Drouin behind the net. Can he create something? We haven't seen a whole lot of him from this game. He's been on that second power play, but another pretty quiet game from Drouin. Hopefully me saying that is going to do an anti-jinx, right? Get him to do something good as the Habs turn it over and it gets leaked out of the zone. We're approaching the halfway mark of the third period, Jesse. This game is 2-2. Let's get some predictions. Let's see. What do you think the final score is going to be, and who do you think is going to win? Anyone in the chat, I want you guys to give your opinions as well. My opinion is Montreal 3-2 win in overtime. I don't think we'll see another goal until the end of regulation. What about you?
Oh, I could see another one before the end of regulation. I'll take a 3-2 Habs, possibly 4-2 with an empty netter, because I think we're going to get another one before regulation. We're really pushing right now, and we're getting to the front of the net, right? We just fanned on a really good opportunity, but it's right where you want to have them, right at the front of the net. I see Jonathan Drouin getting a shift with Kirby Dach right now, getting played a little, maybe getting rewarded a little bit for a somewhat solid game. So far, because you feel like Jonathan Drouin, he needs to play with other skilled players for him to play well. He's just one of those type of players, even though could argue he hasn't always deserved that role, that opportunity so far this year. We did see him, he was on the fourth line in practice, but we all wish the best for him, but okay, we're pushing coming down the wing here. We got to feel like we got to get something. We got all the momentum right now. And I think we're playing smart defensively though. We're even
Yeah.
though they're on a rush right now, it's like we're back. We're not allowing any odd man rushes right now. I think if we keep that up, we're going to put ourselves in a good position to win.
Yeah, it's one thing Montreal's done a good job of is keeping the other teams to the outside for good chunks of the game as we get a bit of a break here. Oh, I
Just
think,
whistled by.
yeah, I can't tell if Varlamov got a piece of that or not, but that was a good chance. Anyway, let's take a look here. I would argue right now Monty's our number one because Allen just hasn't been there recently. Fair enough. Brendan says, love to talk goalies with you guys. Played college and coach now. That's interesting, Brendan. 17-2 Montreal. Good prediction. I think we kind of love that here, right? We got we'll get a bunch of goals on the board here. I mean, I don't know who's going to score. Probably all Raphael Harvey-Pinard. John Huet says, reminder, it's Smurfs Day. 4-2 Islanders with empty net. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I can't really argue with that. Hoopty says 4-3 Habs in OT. Monty let in a squeaker in the last 5 minutes, but they come back in OT. Okay. Tommy says 4-2 Montreal, empty net goal. On board with you, Jesse. Brendan says RHP will do anything for his team. What a block. Yeah, he's been all over that block earlier in the game that almost sent him to the dressing room. Another one there. And plus, he's been hustling on offense. Like, this guy is someone who knows that he needs to grind to stay in the NHL, but he is like igniting the fans, igniting the players, igniting everyone around him. I mean, I'm super happy to have him on the first line. It's kind of crazy. Never, like, if you gave me a million guesses, well, maybe a million, I would have guessed it. But if you gave me like 10 guesses as to players who would play on the first line, even like 20 this season, I don't think his name would have even come up, you know?
Oh, no, definitely not. And everything that he's had, he's definitely earned all the way. And I mean, even tonight, right, he's coming again huge. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that first line maybe being the ones to, dang. Tough point from the
well, there goes my predictions. I mean, wow. All right, so who said 3-2 Islanders? John says 4-2 Islanders. That's the second time a point shot's gotten redirected this game by the Islanders. Hey, I mean, and there's nothing really Monty can do about that. Let's take a look here.
No, Hoffman shouldn't have let that pass get by.
Who was it? Was that Matt Martin tipping that puck in?
Oh, man.
Wow, a Matt Martin goal was not something I had on my bingo card for this game. I mean, that is...
tough break.
Matt Martin, one of the only players that isn't wearing a visor. I suppose he must have been one of the last players to be grandfathered in, hey? Jeez, no visor at all.
Yeah.
That is... All right, new round of predictions. Yeah, Brendan. All right, I'm saying 4-2 Islanders. I'm saying 4-2 Islanders. I'd love a late Habs goal, but boy, that is rough.
4-3 Habs in overtime.
4-3 Habs in
OT? Still lots of time. That's it. We're playing with a lot of momentum, That's it. We're coming in. We're finishing our checks right now. We're looking to get that momentum back and everything. I think we're gonna fight. All the way through on this one.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Is that going to be a hooking call? No.
Oh, that's close. Eh?
Ooh, that was close though. I thought Pitlick hooked him, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's see if the Habs can get some play rolling here because they did have a good amount of momentum. It just took one offensive possession for the Islanders to really get that point shot going and to go into the back of the net. It's really unfortunate. John saying I didn't necessarily want to be proven right so soon. No, we didn't either, John. But that is rough from Romanov too. Gets a secondary assist on that goal. He's the one that shot the puck, or no, he's the one that passed to I guess Mayfield, or maybe it was Ronald that shot. I'm not really sure, but. Matt Martin, gosh, he looks old school without that visor. There's a Kyle Palmieri next to him with Brock Nelson. This team is old, man. Man, come on. You know what? It's all right, though. Yeah, we want to lose. We want to lose the game. That's a good point, Urban. I mean, like, Connor Bedard is great. My opinion changes. When Montreal's winning, I'm like, yeah, we want them to win. When they're losing, it's like, hey, that's not that bad. That 7.5%, that's not high enough. We need a higher odds of getting Connor Bedard at this point because... Get some good player stats with a losing record is okay in my books, but at the same time, I want to watch some exciting games, and I think you guys are kind of on board with that, right?
Exactly. It's like the comment earlier on the game, right, where it's like 4-3 where they lose every game, but you bring the effort. It's like, for sure, we're nowhere are we advocating instilling like a losing culture in this team. I think that's a very you could pretend like you could say you're doing this on purpose, and then it starts to become a thing that just happens year in, year out very easily. So I think it's a really slippery slope. So I think you want to compete, but I think like the team was designed perfectly for the season, right? In a way where it's like they're going to compete, but they're still not going to win every game just because of so much lack of experience at many different positions, and even our key guys just being very young. So I think that this, like, even the way that the team was just constructed, I think even with this draft in mind, was very, very well done, because you want to still have that effort, right? That's so important. Don't you agree, Josh?
I think so too. I think the effort, like you said, the effort and the ability for the prospects and even the young guys to get theirs is more important than winning every single game. Yes, winning is conducive to development, for sure. You want to win games, but at the end of the day, like, just being able to build confidence, I would say, in a lot of guys is important. And it really seems like Montreal, the team chemistry right now is through the roof, which is like so important. Like, how many championship teams or like good teams have you seen kind of fall apart because of locker room issues, not only in hockey but across all sports? But Montreal seems to have, no joke, one of the best locker rooms in hockey, and I think that's going to be really important for them moving forward. Even after, you know, a lot of losses, they can come back strong every single game. We see Brendan saying, hey, at least last night's game between Chicago and Arizona was best case scenario. Both teams got a point. That's true. And I believe the Canucks are getting smoked by the Wings right now, which is, look at that, Canucks fans. You were all right. Rick Tockett's not that much better than Bruce Boudreau. It's not the coach's fault. That's a whole situation I don't really want to get into. That was brutal. But yeah, I mean, Montreal's kind of rolling right now. I mean, we're in a bit of a commercial break. I'm excited to see how the last few minutes go. Jesse, that's one thing Montreal has done well, is close out, play well in games where they've been down late. They're really good at creating chances when they're given the opportunity, especially 6-on-5 with an empty net. Do you think there's a reason Montreal does better 6-on-5 in late in games versus a 5-on-4 power play?
Yeah, I think, with the pressure on, I think just one of the things, just kind of part of the history, as we mentioned, of the team, just, kind of, it's just part of the tradition, part of the culture, just to kind of never give up, be real proud of that uniform you're wearing. And for that, really kind of play to that final whistle, which is what I think, we're going to do tonight, definitely, so we just gotta keep our head up here, and just still lots of hockey to be played here.
Yeah, there is. I see some questions about the Chris Nyland podcast. I believe Ron Knuckles. I watch a bit of those podcasts. They're quite good. They get some great guests. Very interesting perspective as a former Hab that Chris Nyland gives. Jesse, do you watch that podcast much?
I've seen it a couple times. Yeah, it's kind of nice how it's as it mentions, kind of raw, kind of off the cuff sort of thing like that. It's kind of nice to see that from former players, is having some real conversations.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. John says, I'm not even joking about the blue jerseys, but I still believe Pinard could score 2 quick goals, no OT. He loves that jersey. He really does. He's performed very well. I think this is his second game. I think it's his second game in the blue jerseys. I don't think it's his third. But he really does love the jerseys. And we get a 2-on-1. We get a 2-on-1 going down for the Habs Dadonov fans on the path.
Wow.
Oh, Dadonov, my buddy, you gotta convert on that. Oh no, he missed the net. Oh, what a chance. What a chance to tie it. But Montreal is gaining a bit of momentum as Anderson and Harvey Pinard come charging into the offensive zone. You got to build on that momentum. Oh, that was so close. I see here, hashtag Bruce, there it is. I'm glad that Boudreau is going into broadcasting, though. He's going to be on some different networks doing some analysis, which is awesome, because I love Bruce Boudreau. And if you guys didn't know, the Minnesota Wild are my second favorite team. So I've had a lot of Bruce Boudreau in my life as a coach. So really big fan of the guy, and I wish him well. Brendan says, you guys will have guests just like that someday soon. I'm sure we could get guests on. I just, I've been debating who to reach out to and stuff too. I'm sure like someday, once we get a few more subscribers, we put our name out there in the podcast community, we can get people. You got to start small, right? We've been reaching around to try and find some people. I know we've spoken to Hockey Junkie, and he said he'd be glad to come on the channel at some point. I know a lot of you guys are big Hockey Junkie fans, so someday I'm sure he'd be on the pod. And I've been thinking about too, like some maybe Habs analysts. I've seen Arpon Basu, Eric Engels on different podcasts. Maybe we could reach out to them and eventually move up to players. I've seen Jeff Molson in interviews, all this stuff, like Tony Marinaro getting them too. So it's I think it'll be cool in the future to see what kind of guests we can get, Jesse.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Just to kind of get their perspective about the game and everything else. And no, I'm sure they'd have a fun time on the show. We like to keep it insightful, but also keep it real and authentic as well. Yeah. And I think, a lot of players like that, right? Just kind of having a real talk about hockey. We like to think, it's like we're just all in the living room kind of together watching the game and
Yeah.
and everything else like that, and provide some news, provide some insights and everything else like that. But no, it's just, who would ever thought, right, that we'd be talking about this kind of so early on, kind of our first year of doing this. But it's true, we're going to be able to get some players on and hopefully some management. I know it'd be great to speak with Marty St. Louis at some point. So definitely going to be working on that. We want to bring all sorts of different coverage, just to kind of show some different parts on this team.
I'm seeing some funny comments. There's a few, actually. Urban Youth says, I know Terry Ryan, if you want to guess. Well, Urban, that would be incredible. I mean, I'd love to talk to Terry Ryan. That is, if you seriously know Terry and could maybe get him on the show, yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I mean, we don't have a Habs Digest Twitter, but we have an Instagram. You can DM me on Habs Digest Instagram, or the email. I think it's Habs Digest or the Habs Digest, something like that. It's on the channel, but that could be very interesting. But the one I'm laughing at here, Jason says, Josh, does anyone in your day-to-day life call you Evil Cole Caulfield? Jesse, I've gotten that since we started the channel. I've seen people say, "Oh,
address it once and for all."
Address it once and for
all.
all.
Allegations that you have a twin brother, Cole Caulfield, and that you are in fact the evil one.
Twin brother? I mean, have you ever seen me and Cole Caulfield in the same room? No, I do not have Cole Caulfield's shot. I don't even play ice hockey. That's I played ball hockey and that's it. Weird for a guy who's really doesn't play hockey to be doing this show. But no, I'm not Evil Cole Caulfield, although I get a lot of people saying I look like him. I've gotten a few Sam Montembeaus as well. But to answer your question, Jason, yes, people say I look like Cole Caulfield quite frequently on the videos, actually, but I take it in stride, and someday maybe we'll have Caulfield on the show to compare the looks. I would love that. Yeah, so that'll be...
Call your brother up.
Call my... What? Call my brother out live on the show. Oh, my goodness. But let's see. John Huey says that'd be sweet. Junkie is the best. He really is. He's such a nice guy, too. Yeah, I'd love to speak with him again. Brendan says, you guys are professional, entertaining. All the pieces will fall in place. Thank you so much, Brendan. Like I said, we do our best on this show. We really like to keep it professional, give lots of good insight, as Jesse said. Real Hoopty says, maybe have your first 10 subscribers on. I don't know where we can get those statistics of who they are, but that could be interesting, because I know some people were subscribing that first day when Ben of Raptors Digest said, here's the new channel. We had a few subscribers that first day, so I mean, if anyone was one of the first 10 subs, reach out. I don't know if you are, Hoopty, because I recognize your name. I've definitely seen you around here before, if I'm not mistaken, so is maybe Hoopty saying that because he was one of the first 10. Let me know. And Dylan says, I honestly see it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. I look like Cole Caulfield. It's... but that's why part of the reason I'm growing this, right? I'm separating. I need to be distinctive from Cole. And Lou says, good job, guys. Jason says, awesome. Man, Jesse, I've been loving the support we've been getting from some of our fans this stream, eh? I mean, this has been one of the most fun times I've ever had watching a Habs game.
Oh, it's good vibes, right? When you can enjoy watching the game, but then when you get to talk with a bunch of other Habs fans, because that's what I like doing about this channel so much, is you get other people's perspectives. We love hearing people's comments, and it's okay for other people to have different opinions than us and to have the same opinion and everything else, right? But it's just nice hearing it, Yeah. We got so many Habs fans that are they're dedicated and they know the game and they spend time kind of looking at prospects and, analyzing players. And so it's I just feel like we have the best fans in the NHL, and that's what makes it so much fun to do this is we're so dedicated. We love the sport, sometimes to a detriment. We love it too much. But who can blame us? It's in our blood. We're Habs fans, it's a part of our culture. A lot of us as Canadians, but as we know, we got fans from Slovakia, from USA, but let's face it, all around the world, a lot of people, we sometimes think that just people in North America like hockey, but I mean, it catches on around the world.
We're getting a chance here, Jesse. Kirby Doc is in. I want to keep focus on this possession here because it looks like Doc is.
Yeah.
Oh, that scored!
I knew it.
Oh, he did it. Kirby.
I knew that Doc could do
Kirby,
it.
He did it, dude. Oh my God. Ties
That's
it late. Let's go, Kirby. Oh my God. Let's go.
Feeling.
Oh my
I had
goodness.
A feeling. This game is sick. First live stream. Habs are showing up. What is good?
Oh my gosh. And that was started by Doc too. I had it we had a feeling. We were like, oh man, look at Doc in the offensive zone, man. He's creating something. What? Did you see that? What?
Front of the net. What a tip.
Look at this tip.
What a tip job.
Oh my goodness. I thought he kicked it
Two
first, but he
guys in
dipped it
front.
between his legs.
Oh, between the legs again.
Oh.
Similar to that goal from the Islanders, right? In that it was the tip, but then also from the between the legs tip from earlier.
Oh
but
my
that's the way you got to score late in the hockey game. Two guys in front of the net. That's the way you do it late in a hockey game.
Oh, that is what you do. Holy crap. What a goal from Kirby Dach. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. This game is nuts right now. 3-3. So a lot of the predictions are gone, except Hoopties is still there. Hoopties said 4-3 OT prediction. Let's go. He also said he's not one of the first 10, but he's been around for a while. I knew I've seen Hoopties' name around before. Cole can make all the millions he wants. He'll never have the Habs Digest beard game. Not gonna lie, that is carried by Jesse. But you know, I can't grow anything out here, right? So I just got this goatee, and it works fine. It's something to distinguish me from Caulfield. I've had many different looks on the Habs Digest show.
It makes you
sure.
look evil, though. It makes you look like
you look evil. You're not getting called evil in the friggin' stream chat. I'm here. People are telling me I look evil, Jesse. No, you look like an awesome bald dude with a beard. Like I am evil Cole Caulfield. That is it. Oh man.
It's okay though. It's okay. But I find when you just have the stash, it's kind of reminiscent of the Pizzetta. A little bit, you know, but
yeah, that look was questionable. The Habs Digest starting out with just the stash and the long hair. Thankfully, I've gotten rid of both of those. But you know, it's all right. We'll have many different looks as the season goes on, I'm sure. The dock side, yes, the dock side. It'll be for the perfect game. Yes. Yeah, John says very enjoyable. You'll see me again. Thank you, John. Yeah, this has been a ton of fun so far. Hoopty got the prediction right. Kirby, let's go. Love your glass half full attitude about this team. We're only going to get better. Passionate effort. Although I was a Habs fan since the early 70s. You two are making me feel old. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. People say I have an old soul if that makes you feel a bit better, but yeah, at least I'm not born in the 2000s. You know, that would that maybe make more people feel a little old. But no, 97 here, and although my brother, who's on Jay's Digest, he's born in 01, so sometimes that's a bit of a weird. Isn't it weird, Jesse, that people that are born in 2006 are going to be going to high school this year, like this fall?
It's just crazy. All my nieces and nephews are all driving, and seemed like just a couple of years ago they're just little kids. But yeah, here I am. I'm making myself sound old too. But no, it's great to have you here. And it's nice to have Habs fans just of all ages. And again, you know, we need you around, right? Because we need that connection to the glory years, you know, and we need to kind of be reminded of that culture and what this team was about. And, you know, because I think we need to recreate that. I think there's lots of lessons that you can take from those teams, you know, and that are important that shouldn't be lost on us.
Yep, for sure. Ooh, bit of a collision as Anderson goes into the corner.
Was there ever, eh?
Josh, please take these as compliments. Trust me, I am. I like that a lot. Honestly, being compared to Cole Caulfield in any way is quite nice. So, no, I really appreciate anyone commenting on anything. I've looked like about 5 different people throughout the run of this show, so it's quite fair. Down to 2 minutes. Good time for the Isles to put it away. You know what, Jesse, this might end up being 4-3 loss with the other team putting away late as we hit the 1 minute mark. Dylan says, when I saw we traded for Doc, I was super excited to see what he could do with MSL. I agree. I think Doc and St. Louis has been one of the best combinations this season. I think it's the reason Doc has been able to thrive. He's not sort of constrained to playing, a system with someone like Kane. He's just kind of left free to do what he wants, and I think that's where he's finally thriving.
I think, yeah, that's a huge part of it, you know, just kind of having the weight off the shoulders a little bit. Like, I think that you're completely right. Like, Martin St. Louis has so much to do with that. And just, it's, you know, an example that his coaching philosophy works, you know, and it's, when you think about it, it's kind of like a revolutionary coaching philosophy because, like, for so many years, hockey was all about the X and O's and the schemes. And this is the system we play in. And this is, you know, this is our shape and everything else, you know, so to kind of get away from that while still playing within a structure, to have that balance, right? Because what I like about Martin St. Louis is he gives the space to the players, but he's also not like a walking mat. You know, that's what I really like about him. It's like, and I think it's really nice when you can kind of have that combination, right? Where you can give the space to the players that they need to thrive, while also giving them the structure that they need as well to grow.
Yeah, I agree completely. As we hit the end of regulation, speaking of Kirby, I mean, like, this guy ties it up with just over 3 minutes left, sends the Habs to OT with the Islanders. Jesse, I'm not going to say anything. Actually, I'm not going to say anything about the jerseys or anything. We're just going to let it play. I was debating going to get my jersey, my blue jersey. If we win, I'm putting it on immediately.
We're wearing it next podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
No matter what, we're gonna wear ours. If this ends up being
Habs Digest has the matching powder blues.
Yeah, we do. Thank you.
And yes, I am watching the stream on RDS, which is my preferred method of watching the Montreal Canadiens.
I got the that's quite fair. I like RDS a lot more, but I have it on TSN, but I don't have any audio right now, so to me it doesn't really make much of a difference, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I do speak French, those of you out there. I mean, I've shown it a bit in videos, so I can listen to an RDS broadcast, and I know what's going on, trust me. But we got, all right, OT winner predictions. Quickly leave your OT winner predictions right now. We'll get to the shootout if we get to it. I see some Raphael Harvey-Pinard. I'm straight up saying Kirby Dach's going to score again. I'm just straight up going to say it. He's going to score his second of the night, second in like 5 minutes. It's going to be early OT. I think it's Kirby Dach. Jesse, what about you? Leave everyone else in the comments. Leave your predictions as well.
Oh man, I'd love to see Dach get another one, but I'm gonna have to go with Suzuki. I saw him, he was looking good early on in this game. I'd like to see him kind of come back, but definitely Harvey-Pinard and Anderson. Those are two players that play well together, just with a high engine kind of going to the net sort of thing like that. So I could definitely see that line doing something here in overtime.
Yeah, all right, well, here we go. We're getting ready for puck drop. I know our streams are a little bit delayed, so I'm going to try not to look at Twitter or anything, because I know Eric Engels is going to be out there tweeting what happens as soon as it does. But here we go. 48 viewers in here. Again, everyone who's just coming in now to watch overtime, leave a like on the stream right now. We're at 42. I want to hit 50. If you guys haven't hit like, let's try and get to 50 likes before this stream ends. Here we go. Monty scores, says Hoopty. Yes, I would love that. 2-on-1 right away. Mike Matheson. No, robbed by Varlamov. But the Habs get back. Usually when you get a 2-on-1 in overtime, it's a struggle to get back on defense, and it's just back and forth. But Montreal did a great job there of immediately back-checking, making sure that the Islanders couldn't get a break the other way.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. No, that is so important. That's some good coaching there we saw in effect, getting back real quick like that, eh?
Yeah, one-timer, I think Monty might have got a piece of that. I'm not sure. Noah Dobson around the point. He's been impressive this game, I got to say. Barzal coming in, oh my goodness, and is tipped up and wide by Montembeau. Barzal has a lethal shot. Oh my goodness. All right, so we got John. So speaking of which, j'apprécie le bonjour au début des vidéos. Merci, John. Oui, je dis bonjour, je dis hello, je dis ahoy. Ahoy is hello in Slovakian, for those of you who didn't know. For those of you who thought I was just being a pirate, no, ahoy is hello in Slovakian. Thank you guys. We're at 46 likes. We're only 4 away. There's got to be 4 of you who haven't hit that button yet. Do it now, please. It'd be greatly appreciated. Mais oui, je peux parler français. On ne parle pas français dans les vidéos, mostly because most of our viewership is English. Of course, me and Jesse can both speak French, but unfortunately for now, the videos will probably stay in English, maybe with a bit of French here and there, like a quote or something, right? Let's take a look here as the Islanders are setting up. Whoa, that was, I think that was Kirby going for a big hit there.
I like that, though. I like that. Kind of got him off of his trajectory, really slowed him up.
Yep.
Hopefully now allowing us to get this puck back with the stick again, right?
Yeah, that was some good D by Hoffman, too.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Go Kirby.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, man. Oh, overtime is so intense. Overtime is so intense. Oh, okay, Hoffman again. Good defense. Hoffman proving that defensive metric maybe isn't a lie. He's been all over the defensive side of the ice here in overtime. Let's see. Come on. Okay. The Islanders just cycling, man. This is the worst part of 3-on-3 overtime. Teams just cycle until they can, just get the exact look that they want. JG Pajot down low. Penalty coming.
Montembeau stays with them.
But there's a penalty. Montreal's got a penalty. It's going to be 4-on-3 here for the Islanders during this delayed penalty with 3 minutes left. You got to try and touch the puck here. You can't let him go 4-on-3 for, this long. You don't want to get tired. You need to touch the puck up quick. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh,
Yes,
Monty!
Montembeault.
No, okay.
Good save.
Oh, what a save.
That
Oh,
was
I'm getting
huge.
stressed out. My blood pressure's through the roof. Come on, come on. Barzal shoots, and it's deflected high and wide as it gets out of the zone. Montreal, are they going to be able to get a change here at all? I don't think they're going to have much time. The Islanders are going to want to come in quick. Nelson comes in, shoots. Oh, it's deflected out of play.
Amazing.
Monty, oh my God, Monty is
Even on
keeping
that-
us going. Oh.
Even on that Barzal shot, though, it's like he was right there. The only goals that are going in on Montembeault tonight are goals that he can't see.
Oh my!
Like, you can't blame him at all. Like, it seems like he's going to need to be screened. He's going to need something tip. It's got to be something dirty in front. Montembeault, look, he's ready. He's ready for this. He's playing. He's in great position.
He is.
I'm just blown away by Samuel's performance tonight.
Oh, it's been amazing, and that's a big slashing call. I think that's on Hoffman, or is it on Doc? I'm not really sure. I think it's Hoffman, but. Oh boy, tough penalty to take. The Islanders are going to take a timeout. We got 60 viewers in here. Guys, we're at 49 likes. Come on, we can get one like. Come on, one like. One like, guys. That's all we need to hit 50. We wanted to hit 50 likes on this. We're at over 600 total viewers for the stream. We have 59 people in here now. Really appreciate all your guys' support, whoever's watching. This is intense.
Absolutely.
PP for the Isles coming up, of course. Montreal hopefully can get that penalty kill going, but a 4-on-3 penalty kill is a lot harder than 5-on-4.
Let's go. We can do this. We've came this far. We've been battling the whole game. You know that we want this one. I think we just need to just be patient. Just keep them to the outside as much as possible. You know, keep our shape, and we can do this.
That's it. Bo Horvat on the dot against Nick Suzuki wins the draw back to Matt Barzal. Barzal is going to take his time for sure. As we got Dobbs on the left side winding up a one-timer. Monty in the perfect position. Get that puck out of there, David Savard. We got Savard and Matheson. Matheson gets it down the ice. There was no one manning that right point for the Islanders, but they're right back in there. The Islanders are coming right back into the offensive zone. Oh boy, this is going to be stressful. All right, we got Horvat. You know he's going to be on for almost this whole power play. Barzal. The Islanders are going to be methodical, Jesse. They're going to take their time till they get the look they want.
Wow, looking for that. It was a good look with the tip right there.
It was.
Again, I think that's what you're going to have to do tonight. But no, let's keep them to the outside. Monty square once again, no rebound, beautiful save.
Oh my goodness. So after this power play is over, Montreal's going to have about 30 seconds of 4-on-4. Well, I guess 4-on-4 if the penalty expires while the power play is active. Otherwise, of course, 3-on-3. But Dobson has been really impressive this game for me. He's been finding the open man a lot. A beautiful attempt at that pass. Of course, he had his shot from the point tipped by Nelson earlier in the game. Ahoy is also goodbye, says Andrew Thiessen. Well, do you suggest anything else, Andrew? I've heard people say Ahoy is pretty good, but is there anything else you would say maybe at the start of the videos? Would you change it, or do you think it works well for what I'm doing? As the Islanders, Dobson, one-touch pass across, and Monty's in position. They're not going to be able to.
Oh!
Bit of a gamble at the line, but the Islanders barely keep it in, and they can't quite get a scoring opportunity off of it. All right, let's see.
It's all right, boys.
Come on. Dobson shoots it just wide left. Montembeault managed to get over there. He had the post covered. But the Islanders have been dominating the puck battle so far in overtime. I know they're on the power play, but Montreal can't even touch it. They've got to be exhausted. They've been out there this whole power play. The hesitation before the shot from Dobson. Oh my goodness. This is insane right now.
A little bit more to go.
Wow,
great block.
Oh, okay.
Great block there.
Without audio, I wasn't sure if that hit the post or not, but David Savard, one of the best shot blockers in the NHL, doing his job again. Look at the hustle, and it's out of the zone. Oh, what a break.
That is huge.
What a break. Okay. The Islanders are 0-3 in shootouts. I really don't want them to say that right now because the Islanders still have 15 seconds left in this power play. Great hit, and it's out of the zone. That's going to get, I think, Hoffman out of the box. So let's see what happens here. Dvorak is on the ice. I'm sure you're going to see some offensive players from Montreal here now that it's even strength again. But Barzal coming in with Pajot streaking down the wing. Barzal taking his time, turns it over. Here we go. Breakaway. Mike Hoffman can't control the puck. He gets it. Oh, it's safe rebound. Scores! Oh, that's it. Mike Matheson, the goal in overtime. The hero. Oh, the curse.
Oh, what a beauty. Oh, man. That is amazing. What a finish.
Brought it out, baby. There we go. The Powder Blues are no longer cursed. It's official. Big win. Yes. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so hyped. I am so hyped. I'm going to try and spam some emotes in the chat here. Oh, some happy emotes. I wish I had one for Matheson. I don't, but Oh my God, what a win! What a win! Oh, Jesse.
Wow.
Final in overtime.
Whoa.
Hoffman streaking out of the box. Matheson in the right place at the right time. A brutal turnover by the Islanders in the offensive zone. Matheson, someone who we were talking about not being amazing yet, but that's the one thing he brings. It's his skating. It's his speed. It's his ability to... Oh, you can see the tag for my jersey. His ability to get there in the offensive zone with these rushes. That's one of the main reasons we got him, right? Sort of reminiscent of Jeff Petrie in a way, right?
Absolutely. And started off with a great defensive play as well, a great stick. Great reception by Hoffman to take that through the legs. Not easy at all while still keeping up his pace, to set up that rebound. Shooting at the pads. I think, knowing that Matheson's kind of coming up right there. Just an amazing setup.
Jesse.
Matheson, just to follow up.
Jesse.
What's that?
There's a review.
No!
There's a review.
What are they looking at right now?
Offside?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no. There's no way, right? There is no way.
We got to take another look at this. I thought Matheson was good.
No, it's Hoffman. It's the
initial break-in.
There's no way. That can't get called back, right? If that gets called back, that's like a millimeter. That's against... No, I mean, there's no way. There is no way. There is no way. I mean, Yeah,
it's
I think so.
It's a simultaneous thing.
Yeah.
It's simultaneous, the exact same time. You can't call that offside.
No, there's no way. They're like, but I've seen worse, so I'm just, we gotta watch. I mean, Hoopty, as of now, wins the prediction. Attaboy Hoopty. Scott says the Isles need to fire Lame Lambert immediately. Can't be fast enough. I'd have him fire the locker room in front of the players and tell him to find his own flight home. Yeah, I mean, the Islanders are not exactly the best organization to be following right now. Tommy says, I gotta go. This was fun. Let's do it again soon. Thank you, Tommy. You were here the whole time. Really appreciate all your comments today. Thank you so much. I think this is gonna stand, Jesse. There's no way that this gets called back, right? This is like... No, that's not possible. There's no way, because the same frame his skate crosses is the same frame the puck crosses. I'm going to turn up the volume. I'm sure this is coming through in the stream, but I don't know if I can actually... I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. Chow is a less formal hi. I can say chow as well. That works too. Adrian says, I just won 600. Attaboy, Adrian. Well, we'll see if this review holds up. Not able to watch the game, listening to the stream. Tons of fun. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Hunter, for stopping by. Really appreciate it. John, oh boy, McDavid was refused to go in a similar fashion earlier this year. No one's leaving the ice. So let's just see. I don't know if I'm allowed to stream this audio, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. It's not very loud. They're taking a long time, Jesse. I'm getting worried. They're like, oh no.
No, they gotta let that be a goal. I don't see how you can rule that as offside. There's no way that he entered.
The left blade is still on the blue line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's impossible because it's frame by frame. You can't do that. Scott says, been a fan since '76. I've never seen such a lackadaisical team. Lambert doesn't hold anyone accountable. Yeah, I mean, the Islanders, they got Horvat, but honestly, this effort tonight, I don't see a lot of Islanders, but I'll be honest, as a Habs fan, this team is really not that amazing. They have a lot of heart, but they don't have a ton of skill, and if you're the Islanders and you just traded for Horvat, this is not a game you want to lose, as we mentioned earlier in the stream, so you're right. John says he did a 360 at the blue line. I didn't have full control, and it was refused. That was the McDavid one, I assume, yeah. The Poiriers say Montreal all the way, Jesse.
You know it, honey.
Let's go. The Real Hoopty says 50 plus likes. We do have 53 likes. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and leaving a like on the stream. Is this going to be the official call? He's going to the bench. He's going to the Islanders bench.
Good. That's over the line. The puck is over the line as the player is over the line.
Yeah, right?
That's good. That's good, and he's not over. That's onside.
I mean, I'm still holding my breath here. Adrian says, I'm Mexican. I don't know nothing about hockey. He chose Canada because they're friendly. Gracias, Adrian.
Yes.
Oh, man. Muchas gracias. This is hockey is super fun. I'm surprised. Yeah, Mexican fan of hockey. That is amazing. Super glad to have you here. Yeah, Canadians are pretty friendly. So I know lots of people from Latin America, and some of the most friendly people you'll meet. I love the Latin culture. So it's thank you very much for stopping by. Scott, it should be a goal just on GP because Lame is a terrible coach. Scott has it out for Lane Lampard. I love it. I love it, Scott. Let the hate flow through you. Become a Habs fan. More of a Habs fan with this game. Matthew says Montreal's a good choice. Adrian, yeah, Montreal is an awesome team, awesome city. And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to Montreal in March, and I'm going to see a live Habs game. So I don't know how many of you are actually in Montreal, but I'll be around the city from, I think mid-March. I'm seeing the Colorado Avalanche game on the 13th. So I'll be around if any of you are in Montreal. If anyone sees me somehow, just say hi. I really doubt that's going to happen. I really doubt anyone's actually going to see me in Montreal. But if you do, just say hello if you recognize me. So just giving you guys the heads up. We're actually almost at 60 likes now, Jesse. We're at 57.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had 668 viewers, 56 people, 54 in here now. This review has taken way too long. Like, what is happening? I don't know why this is taking so long, man.
No, this is abnormally long. Like, I think that, like you said, on the frame by frame, like he's on side. You know what I mean? The puck is kind of coming into the same zone at the exact same time as the player. He's still on the blue line. You know, he's not coming in before. And I think that for sure you have to call that as onside. You know, if you can't, without a shadow of a doubt, you know what I mean, overturn it. You know what I mean? Then I think you got to let this be a good goal.
They're taking off the headsets, Jesse. They're taking off the headsets.
It's getting real. Wow. What a nail biter, though, eh? For our first game, doing the live stream.
Onside, good goal, game over, yes! Game over, let's go. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad, good goal. Scott came in and said it, game over. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh, there we go. A few more Kirby's for you guys, a few more Slapzillas, we're going to send those in the chat. Again, if you want to use these emotes, channel membership, would be really appreciated if you guys want to give us that extra little bit of support. Obviously, you don't have to do anything. We're at 60 likes. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Scott says, I think my wife's about to banish me to the basement. Scott, don't get your wife too upset. Guess I get it 30 seconds before you guys do. Yeah, we're a little bit delayed here. My Bell app on my phone is a little bit slow. And of course, the stream actually coming to you guys is going to delay it even further. But that's all right. I didn't see it in chat. Hoopty says, Drew and McKinnon need reunited in Colorado. We definitely don't want them anymore. That'd be the cool Halifax line. Outrage says, wait, I turned it off. They're still reviewing. They just finished the review, Outrage. The game is over. Andrew says, the NHL has killed so many moments this season. I agree. I mean, that's not the spirit of the offside rule, right? It's the offside rule is meant for obvious plays. Like, in that kind of thing there, I feel like giving it, like, I don't know how you give it just like, if it's not within 2 frames or something. I don't think you can do that. But the fact that we can review that was reviewed for so long when it was literally the difference of like millimeters, I just think that's not in the spirit of the rule, right?
No, exactly. And you don't want to take that long for the review. You know, I kind of want to keep the momentum up. It's been a really fast-paced, entertaining game. So it would be nice to kind of come to a little bit of a quicker resolution because we're watching the frame by frame. Like, you know, it was simultaneous, right? So in no way is a play like that offside. But I mean, some good control by Hoffman, you know, to still keep it on side there, and definitely up in his trade value after today's game.
For sure. We said, love Canada. Thank you, Adrian. We love you too. 52 likes, says Matthew. Was it a goal? It was, Maddie. It was a goal. Plenty of friends in Canada on the PS4. Great show, guys. Thank you, Scott. He says, I'm going to get banned from the Isles channel on YouTube. Well, Scott, if you get banned from the Isles channel, you're always welcome back here at the Habs channel, Habs Digest. We'd love to have you back. Dylan says, love the stream, guys. Looking forward to watching again with you at some point. Lou says, you're awesome, guys. More stream, please. We love all you guys who tuned into this stream today. Just a big thank you to everyone. And James, I see your comment there before we end. Reviews like this are why we're ruining hockey. I agree. I think that's not within the spirit of the rule, but reviews I think have a good place. It's just the way they're they're applied. But I think a big thank you to everyone who stopped by today. Jesse, I mean, we couldn't have done this stream without the viewers, right? This was just phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and not just that, but the comments and kind of engaging with us. And we love getting to know more about you, and just thanks for sharing the love. Honestly, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have daily content and many more streams to come, I hope, as the season moves on. I mean, we are not always available to stream every single game, so don't get your hopes up for that. But for days like this, like, I'm not sure about tomorrow. Don't know if we'll be able to have a stream for tomorrow. Outrage is asking. We'll see. Another 12:30 Eastern game, which is 2 p.m. for me, but we'll let you guys know if we are. I mean, this was a big success. We're really glad you guys tuned in and enjoyed it. Just a quick, Bob says, I don't have any problem at all with the refs and off-ice officials taking their time to review every angle, getting the call right. I think that's true, too. Getting the call right is important. I just think there maybe should be a little more leeway in how some rules are applied. But thank you guys so much. We will be letting you guys know, whether it's through a comment on a video or through the community tab, if we're going to be streaming again. Jesse, any final things to talk about, say to the fans before we end this stream?
Well, definitely looking forward to doing this again. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's great watching a game, but even better when we just kind of get to do it all together. So yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for coming in and being with us today.
I'm going to send a nice thank you off in the chat. Thank you, everyone. As always, that'll do it for this stream edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, like the stream, comment, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the support, and we hope it continues long into the future. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one. And that does it, Jesse.